What's up, everybody? Stacking Surfer here. Hopefully you guys are having a good week and ready for the weekend. I know I am. I'm going to do this virtual background because it's just a white wall behind me, but my head keeps disappearing. So my head's still there. Oh my gosh, my finger disappeared too. I guess you need a blue screen. Well, we'll do our best. All right, here we go, guys. So we got a great show today. We're going to talk about some pretty cool stuff. I recently just did a video posted yesterday with Andy Schectman, an interview. We're going to talk about that a little bit. I also want to hear from you guys. So put comments in the put questions in the comment section. Want to hear from you guys. Want to answer your questions that you have. This is an Ask Surfer video. The other thing I want to do is touch upon a couple subjects I'm seeing and themes I'm seeing in notes from people. So one of them is, what happens when we get down to a 30 ratio? Is there going to be any gold left to buy? Okay. Or is it all going to be gone? Can we switch or swap from silver to gold? So we'll hit that. We're also going to talk about what happens if coin shops stop buying silver. They're out of cash. It's too expensive, or maybe even gold is too expensive. They don't buy it. Is that possible? Can that happen? What would that look like? We're going to hit about that too. And I want to get some of your guys' feedback from it. And then I've got a bunch of stuff to open. So we're going to open up a bunch of things and see what's inside of them. This is from the Wounded Warrior auction that we did. I don't even know what I picked up. A lot of it I ended up donating. So I'm not exactly sure what's in here. But we're going to check that out. But I'm going to welcome you guys to the show, and then we're going to talk about what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. I've got a ton of stuff coming. Those of you that have won GAWS, they are ready to go out. I just need to put them in the bags. So these are some of the GAWS that we've done over the last couple of weeks. And then I had another person, Cactus Stacker, sent me some money for a bunch of stickers. So Cactus, I don't know if you're watching this, but I'm going to be sending you that cool sticker. This really cool magnet. I only have a few of these left. This is for my 10,000 subscriber party, and that's signed. And then I've got Coin Talk. There's only a couple of these left with Nick's Coins and Stacking Surfer signed on it. And then you've got the OG sticker. I only made 100 of these. So this is number 55 out of there. But I'm going to be sending those off hopefully tomorrow, but it might be Monday. It's been kind of busy and crazy. But I want to see what you guys are doing in here. And it looks like Rob was the first in waiting. We've got Silver Shelby Stacker, second in waiting. Number 2 is always good too, guys. We've also got Cheap Laugh Kennedy 2318. Okay. All right. We've got Jake's Custom Parts in the house. He's our mod for tonight. Thank you, Jake. We've got SGTRP in here. Let's see who else we've got in here. Clarence Pereno, 1846. What's your favorite silver coin? I love Mexican Libertads. I will tell you, I got a couple different favorite silver coins. Mine are usually ones with ships on them. But one of my favorite coins that I have is the Mayflower. Big fan of the Mayflower. So I've got that in gold and in silver. But pretty much anything with a ship is my favorite coin. My favorite coin to stack is that one right there, American Silver Eagles. I've been trying to get as many of these as I can because I think this is the best play for swapping down the road and what could happen with taxation. So if you guys have questions on that, let me know and I'll cover that too. I don't think it's the best bang for your buck right now unless you figured out, like I have in some cases with local people, where you can pick these up for close to spot. Then it makes sense. I think the Mexican Libertad's really cool. One of my biggest regrets is not buying the kilo at one of our shows, but I had no way of testing it. So a kilo is kind of a lot to spend on a coin at the time, $900. Now I kind of wish I did it. Those things are like $2,000 or more. We've got, let's see who else is in the house here. We have, okay, Paul 9137. Favorite silver equals a fantastic deal. I agree with that. That's usually what I go with. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe, the bell icon, and also the thumbs up. That helps people know what we're doing. The whole goal of this channel is to wake more people up into the whole idea of stacking. It's to help get people prepared for what I think is going to be a financial collapse at some point, as well as a currency, let's just call it a complete makeover that's going to be coming. We're in a currency cycle. We're kind of at the end of the United States being the global reserve currency, and we're going to see a lot of things starting to happen here pretty soon. And it's going to get a little wild as we go through that. So that's what I want to be able to do, is help get people ready for it. Right now, we're sitting at about 14,000 subscribers. If we get to 17 by the end of the year, midnight, I'm going to do a live stream on New Year's Eve. I will be giving out a 10th ounce of gold, a bull reverse, a Toro reverse proof coin from Spain. And if we don't quite get there, we get to 16,000. I will probably, I think I'm looking at 5 ounces of silver. And if we only get to 15, I'll probably do like a 2 ounce silver coin or something. So share the channel with everybody you know. Let's get it up there. We'll also be doing giveaways tonight. So we'll be doing that. The more super chats we have, and if you guys want to, you can either do a super chat or you can do memberships, which are very well liked by other people in the community. The other thing is thumbs up. If we get up to 50, we'll do a little bit more silver. If we get up to 100 on the thumbs up, we'll do even more silver. Okay, we'll just keep adding on to it. But we're going to talk about silver. So I mean, these are the kind of things I've been giving away. We'll see where we get today as far as what we end up doing. But these are little Beskar bars, 1 ounce. Boom. Star Wars. These have a premium. These were going for about $55 when silver was 25. So I don't know what they're going for on eBay right now, but definitely worth a lot more than $60. So I try to get some good stuff to give out to you guys. Part of that's a reward for watching mining videos. That's how I fund some of this stuff with the channel. All right. Let's see. We've got, let's see, who else we got in here? Ethan Melton, welcome. We've got Rob in here. I think Rob was first, so he was in here for a while. Amy, welcome. Michael Porter is in the house. What's up? Mystery pack of Silver Seeker. Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff in here too. So I don't know. We'll have to make a decision. Like, do we end up gawing any of this stuff at the end of the year? Maybe this is what we do some of the GAWS with. All right, let's see what else. Maybe you guys don't have any questions yet, so we'll just call you guys out. Joey Libs is in the house. Welcome, Ohio Brian. We are live. Yes, we are live. We've got Rubber City Rebel. Annie Oakley, 779. Welcome. OC Stackers in the house. Another mod. Thank you. Ryan Williams is in the house. PMG Stakes. All right. I'm a little challenged, guys. We've got Tyler under 6 months. No. Tyler Durden. 6 months. Okay, I'm reading these names too fast. You guys, there's no breaks in them. So many great names in here. Mark Florida, welcome. Just a second here. All right, let's see if I can. I'm going to put this on mute just so that I don't keep getting pinged here. All right. Now, some of you are going to be in the vertical format. So you're watching it on your phone vertically, like that. If you're doing that, double tap the screen. That's how you give. Oh, that's baby B. That's one of my twins. Double tap the screen, and you will get. It'll put a like up if you're watching it in the horizontal format on your phone or computer. That way, just go ahead and click the thumbs up. We get to 100, we'll do more silver. All right, guys. So put your questions into caps. Put them in quotes, make them look like a question to me. You could say, hey, surfer, whatever. We'll make sure we hit that. Michael and Nancy Stacking's in the house. Welcome. Jake's Custom Parts is here. Mr. Palad, is what I'm going to say. You look like Obama. I don't know what that means. You like my stacking surfer hat? It's backwards. All right, let's see. We have Gulf's Island Rock. Love the interview with Andy. Yeah, Andy, it was a great interview, guys. It's the best interview I've done with Andy. Now, I want to give you a little bit of what's coming up here. So we are going to talk heavily about what happens when silver hits 100, 300, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 500, 5,000. Okay, we're going to talk about that today. If you think those numbers are not possible, you don't understand what's coming. Okay, this isn't a pumper. I'm not trying to say, hey, it's going to get up to there, because it's all relative. If it's going to cost you like $1,000 to buy a hamburger and silver is sitting at $5,000, it's not that great. It hasn't really moved up a whole lot. Okay, but we are going to hit and talk about that a little bit. And will you be able to sell your silver and gold? Will there be anybody to buy it? So we are going to hit that. The other thing I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about too is just what's coming up. So I've got an interview coming up with Kevin Wadsworth from North Star Bad Charts on Monday. So I'll be shooting that on Monday and hopefully get that out Tuesday or Wednesday. I've got a video from Tangible Investments. So Sil is the owner of that company, and he's the co-founder of PCGS. So we're going to be talking about pre-33 gold coins, which ones to stay away from. A lot of them are really overpriced, and you're not going to get a good bang for your buck with them. And others are really close to the price of bullion that could be a really good steal right now. So we're going to hit that. That's going to come out on Sunday. So look for that. I'll actually, after I'm done with the show here, I'll get it set up so you guys can start, marking it for a reminder. And then I've got an interview coming up with Rob Keynes from the Freedom Report. So that's in about 2 weeks. We'll get him out. And then also Don Durrett. He is really good at everything mining stocks. Okay. I mean, I don't even know where he's able to purchase a lot of these mining stocks. They're all these junior miners, and a lot of them are doing like 20% in a day sometimes. So I know some of you guys want to hit mining stocks, so we'll kind of hit that. If you guys have questions about that, we can hit it too. Last, we are going to be doing more live streams for members only. I've got to figure out how to do that right. Last time I did it, it opened it to everybody. We did have a great conversation. But there's certain things that I'm willing to cover a lot more on a smaller group that's not completely public to everybody, that can be searched by search engines, okay? And I don't mean conspiracy things. I mean things that are maybe a little bit more personal about what I'm doing with my stack, other things like that. It keeps it a little bit smaller crowd for us. All right, we have a bunch of people in here. So let's see here. I'm going to scroll down just to see everybody that's in here. So this one's an interesting comment just to come up. Utah banks will give spot. They always buy industrial supply. Will slaughter for your silver. What the heck? All right. Well, if you said heck, I know you're from Utah. Used to live there. All right. I think this is good too. Ethan's talking about 1/10 gold eagles right now. I think that is a good buy, guys. If you go back about a year and a half, most of the stacking channels were saying do not buy 10th ounce coins. They're too expensive, and the premiums are too high. Well, one of the things I'm going to put out there is this: what happens when gold's sitting at 5,000 when it's sitting at $10,000? It's going to be much harder to find a buyer for your 1 ounce coin. A lot of retail people aren't going to be able to go back and forth. You're going to have to sell those to a coin store, find someone to barter with it, or to, like say a refinery. 10th ounce is going to be a lot easier to trade with people going back and forth. And so I do think there is a huge play going forward, at least in the short term, until wages increase drastically, and until there's a reset for those fractal coins, especially if you are going to need to use them for trading. However, for me, that's really more what I do as silver. All right, let's see. Let's see what you guys have got. I got a lot of cools, a lot of highs. We got folks in here from Texas. Hello, West. And then we've got another folks from Texas, West Texas Stacker. Welcome. All right, let's see. So my answer to Silver Eagles being a good buy is this. This is a silver round, okay? I can't remember who this is going to, but I do have your name all pulled up. I just couldn't, I couldn't get it all totally done yet, but it's going to get done tomorrow morning. Okay, this is a silver round, okay? It's an ounce of silver. It's 3 9s fine, I believe. Yeah, this one's 3 9s fine. If you can buy this for $2 over spot, maybe $3 at the most, and you can buy a silver gold like the one behind me here for $2 or $3 more than this, that's where I start to say, okay, it's a consideration. If you're looking at like 10 or more dollars more than a silver round to buy a silver eagle, I wouldn't buy those. I'd pass on them. So it depends on what you can find them for. I just went up with OC Stacker. We drove up on Sunday to go pick up some monster boxes of silver eagles that that we were picking up. I can't remember the exact cost over spot, but it wasn't very high, from someone that wanted to sell it. So they were able to sell it for a higher price than what they would get going to a coin shop. And then we're able to take those and sell them to someone else at a lower price than what they would pay at a coin shop. Those only come every once in a while. I still buy from Miles Franklin. I still buy from SD Bullion. I still buy from my LCS. It all depends on the deal. So someone had mentioned here earlier, what's your favorite silver? It's the silver that you can get at a good price. Now, like these Beskar bars, I think when I originally got these things, so you can kind of see that detail there. When I originally got these, I want to say these were going for about $32 each, and silver would have been maybe about 27, something like that. And then these had a premium that went up pretty fast. So it really depends. I wouldn't go and spend a lot of money on premium product if you're having to pay a very big spread over the spot price, especially when you can buy constitutional right now at melt or below. That's kind of how I'd answer that. Would you sell a little silver right now? That's all relative. I'm giving it away tonight. So I guess the answer is yes. Giving it away is kind of like selling it, so to speak. You know, I get to write that off as a marketing expense for my company. But for the most part, I'm helping you guys out with things. But would I sell it? I do sometimes. I put coins up on eBay right now. Prices have been so crazy, and I've been traveling out of the country and all over the country too. I haven't really had the time to focus on my eBay store. But when I do my eBay store, I put coins out there. I put products out there that maybe I don't love at the moment that I want to get rid of, or maybe I have too many of them. And so I will still sell silver right now, but I will sell it at a retail price, and I'll sell it what I'm willing to part with it for. So that would be my answer to that question. Now, if you're saying, hey, I have a lot of silver and it's time to, is it time to sell silver? Well, my question to you would be, what are you selling for? Do you need the money to pay a bill, or are you just worried the price is going to go down? Because I don't think the price is going down anytime soon. Like, I'm not personally selling gold or silver because I think it's going to go down and I want to buy lower. I don't play that strategy when we're in a bull market going up. It's very dangerous. That's how you end up getting priced out of a market. That's how you buy gold at $1,500, sell it at $2,000, and then realize it never goes back down to $1,500. And next thing you know, you're at $3,000, you're at $3,500, you're at $4,000. Now, what do you do? Okay. So I don't want to get myself in a situation like that. And I'm also not trying to maximize everything like crazy. I'm trying to accumulate ounces, not necessarily trying to get to a specific price per ounce. However, I do want to try to keep that within reason. That might be a fun video to do at some point, guys. All right, let's see what else you guys have in here. All right. For the Gen Y accumulator, when would you consider pivoting price-wise and stack-wise to silver mining stocks? Okay. I don't have... Yes, I do. Give me 1 second. Let me get some constitutional silver out. All right, I'm back. All right, how many of you carry a backpack around, and then you look in it and you realize you've got a tube of quarters in there that are silver. And you're like, I was wondering where those went. It's usually when I'm trying to film something that I have that. Okay. If you're a Gen Y accumulator, this is what I would recommend stacking. Is pre-1965 or 1964 and older quarters, half dollars, and dimes. Okay, I would focus on this stuff. Okay, these are basically they're going for about $10 now. Okay, so I think these are a pretty good pickup if you can find them. There's a lot of junk that's out there right now. Why is it called junk? It's because people didn't want it for a long time. There may be another dumb reason for it, but I think it's some of the best stuff because what's nice about this is a quarter is not worth enough right now for someone to try to go and fake these things. Okay, so they're not doing that. And then at the bottom, you can see this is a 1944. See if I can get close enough. Okay. 1944. And I know it's backwards, guys. There's no way for me to change that with the way that these things are, this camera setup is set up on YouTube. Okay, this quarter right here used to be worth 25 cents. It's now worth $10, basically. And it has a date on it. And so it's really easy for me to look at this and know that it's pretty good. Now, if I put two of these together, I can ping test this without a pinger, but it's going to fall. So I recommend getting a pinger, especially for your nice stuff, because you got to balance this thing, and it's not easy, but you can hear it here. And it's going to fall, but you can hear the sound with these. Okay, this is your easiest stuff to stack, and it's the best bang for your buck price-wise right now. So if I'm a Gen Y accumulator or a Gen X accumulator or a Z accumulator, this is what I'm looking for. If I'm older, if I'm into, say, a later Gen X or a baby boomer, I probably already have a bunch of this stuff here, and I may want to go for something more like Eagles, depending on what I can get price-wise, or I may already have such an established stack. Maybe I'm looking to see when do I want to sell. But that's what I would look for is this first, okay? Now, I recommend $100 per face. So that means 4 quarters equals $1, okay? And then you look at $100 there. So look at $100 face for each person in your family is the first thing I would do. And I would do that before I got into mining stocks personally. And then the second thing I would do is I like to have 1 ounce of gold for every $50,000 of net worth I have, okay? So take your net worth minus your liabilities or your loans, and that number you come up with, I like to take that divided by 50,000. That tells me how many ounces of gold to go and get. Once I have hit those goals, that's when I start getting into silver and gold mining stocks. Now, that's me personally. I only really got into stocks starting in May. I had them 2 years ago. They didn't do anything, so I sold them. I took that money and I bought physical. I did miss out on some profits doing that, but I was able to build a stronger stack. And at the end of the day, if the stock market crashes, the gold and silver mining stocks are going to crash along with it. Even if silver is going up, they're going to get pulled down in the market. I do have them now. They're doing really well for the most part. A couple of them have gone up 200%. I've put more money into them, so that's kind of brought the overall ROI back down a bit. But I do like mining stocks. I think, and we'll be covering that with Dawn probably in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before Christmas. And that's going to be a time that you want to get ready for what you're going to be buying going into the new year. I do think mining stocks will outperform the physical metals as well, but it is more risky. You're not holding the metals by to yourself. And at the end of the day, there could be a time where you can't get your hands on this stuff because it's too hard to get. So remember that spot price is not the same as physical price. Okay. You could have a spot price that's at $100 and, no one wants silver right now. And so everybody's turning it in, and maybe silver is only worth $70. That's what they're giving you at a coin shop. It can be on the flip side too. It could be that we get up to a $60 spot price, yet you can't find the physical anywhere and people want it. And they're willing to pay $80, for one of those coins or around. So it just depends. But that's what I would do first, is build your foundation and then start getting into mining stocks. Now, if you want to do a little bit of each, then I would just ease yourself into it, right? So, take 100%. If you're going to take $1,000, maybe you take 20% of it and you put it into mining stocks, okay, or 10% of it. You could do that as well. Anyway, I hope that helped. Let's see here. I'm hearing this from a lot of people that their local shop is loaded with silver. They're not buying. This happens from time to time. It's not usually a very long-standing thing, but that's what we're going to talk about on the show today. What happens when that happens? What do you do? I want to hear from you guys, and I'm going to give you some of my opinions on it too. But we'll get to that in a few minutes here as we get through a few of the questions. So I'm going to hold this one over to the side, and we'll come back to it. All right, what else we got in here? Where can I get a hat? If you go onto the channel, there should be a place down below that has stuff. I think they've got some hats. This one I personally had made. It ended up costing way too much money, but there's some other hats that are on here that are a little less fancy that you can pick up. I'm going to be revamping some things to make it more fun. I don't know that anybody wants or cares for a Stacking Surfer hat. I'm pretty sure all I've sold is one sticker so far on all the merch in almost 2 years. So we're going to make it a little bit more fun. I do give away a lot of stickers like this over time. So, we got all these different kinds of stickers that are here that we've made over time, right? And my wife's asked me to stop spending so much money on stickers. So we haven't done as much of that lately. I'm kind of getting through all of them. But I will be coming up with some cool mugs, some cool t-shirts, designs like that. And one of the cool ones I was just talking to Andy about is little by little by little and then all at once. And anyway, hopefully he'll make that. I think that'd be really cool. If you really want one of these, you can text me and I can try to get you a logo so you can put it on. I think I got this over at the hat place in the mall. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. We got someone from Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome. So I've been out there quite a few times. A lot of my coworkers are out that way. I don't think they're ever going to get caught up, but I haven't checked into the details of it yet. But my guess is they're still having a problem with it right now. But I haven't checked, so I don't know for sure. So we'll hit this too in just a minute, West Texas Stacker too, because I know that's one that you've kind of talked about in the past. Same with OC. No, not necessarily, Ethan. If a burger is $1,000, it doesn't mean it's end times. It just means that we've had a lot of inflation. So if your wages continue to inflate as well, it might not be that big of a deal. Usually never keep up with it. You start to lose less and less of that purchase power. But, if a burger goes up by that much, which let's just say that's 10 times, what they cost today. It's a little bit more than that. But hey, you come to California, I think you're going to pay about $8 for a hamburger now, cheeseburger. But let's say it's 10 times that. Maybe your income doesn't increase 10 times, it increases 8 times. You don't have as much purchasing power, but it really isn't quite there. So it doesn't necessarily mean end times. There's been inflation in other markets, other things that have happened. But overall, in general, I think we're in the end times. If you're Christian and you believe in the Bible and stuff, I think we are in those end days. But those end days can take a lot of time, and I would rather get prepared for them than to just expect that everything's going to, I'm not going to be here for it to happen. All right, we'll come back to this other question in a minute here. Let's see. We'll talk about the coin shops. So we're going to get into a little bit more with coin shops in a minute here. All right, let's see. I don't know what this is. You'll have to tell me what you mean by this 400 million announced order. Do you mean from a particular person? So Ryan, you'll have to clarify that one. All right, let's get down here a little bit. So I'll hit this, and we'll talk about this as well in a little bit more detail. But basically, think of it like this, guys. The ratio should be how it comes out of the ground. Technically speaking, if everybody is holding the excess, kind of a standard excess amount of metals out of the market, not for sale. Okay. It's a little bit complex to look at it that way, but that's essentially how it works. If everything is held equal, the GSR is really where things have normally been pegged to, okay, because it's been used as money and it's circulating, okay. If you get a bank hoarding a ton of metals and they peg it to a certain ratio and then they unload those metals, you can throw off the whole thing. But honestly, we should get back to an 8-to-1 ratio because that's what it is coming out of the ground, which is lower than it was historically, which is 12-to-1. Now, we aren't using silver as money right now. If the price of silver continues to go up, we might see that ratio go up higher. A lot of people will talk about the ratios going down, like Andy will mention, because it's endothermic, it's on the surface, we've already mined all of that. Okay, I don't know for sure. I mean, it makes sense, but I would guess that ratio will come up a little bit higher with mining if we start to have more dedicated silver mines, especially if there's a lot more value in it. We'll probably start to see some recycling going on. Now, if you use it for missiles and stuff, you vaporize this stuff, you're never going to get it back. So, the way I look at it for ratio is if it's over 50, it's a better buy for silver. If it's under 50, it's a better buy for gold. And you could look at that as percentages, right? If it's at 50, if you're buying, buy 50% in gold, 50% in silver. When you get to 80, you're buying, 80% in silver, 20% in gold. You can kind of set what you want to do with it. The key is if you're playing the ratio, when it's high, that's when you want to be getting into more silver. And when it's low, that's when you want to be getting into more gold. And if you play that back and forth, which is tricky to do because it takes like a decade, maybe sometimes 2 decades to play it, you should be able to double your ounces of gold each time you do that, but it's going to be every other, ratio swing. So I'll have to find a chart for you guys on that. I don't think I have a way of pulling it up today, but if you started doing this when you were a teenager and you lived a full life, you really could play the ratio multiple times and continue to increase your stack just by doing that. Okay. This is the fractional silver. I would not buy anything smaller than a dime. And I'm pretty sure this is always going to be a better price than what people are selling you for fractional silver. So I wouldn't get into grams. I wouldn't get into 10th ounce silvers. The philosophy still applies. If silver's at $1,000, it is an easier thing to trade. But you have constitutional silver or junk silver. So I would stick with that more, but check the price and see. Maybe the other way is okay too. Those are cool. I don't have one of those, but I do think antique finished coins are pretty cool. All right, let's see. Okay, have they announced this yet? I saw this a while ago, like a month ago, but I couldn't tell anybody about it. So I guess I'm confirming it exists. I don't know if anybody said anything about it, but it actually is the coolest looking one of the series. So I will probably get those graded, and I'll probably get a couple of them. The Napoleon one's pretty cool too. All right, let's see. Okay, what's my silver and gold stacking makeup? So this is cheese on top 17, and he's a Lego man. That is cool that a Lego dude's watching this. I'm a big Lego fan, by the way. I grew up building stuff, and I took a bunch of architecture classes, so Lego was kind of fun. Now I stack with silver bricks. How's that? Except they're not the Lego kind. They're just like kilo bars and 10-ounce bars. Okay, he's got a fourth ounce PAMP bar. Rest is 50-50, government coin, bullion, and 90%. So I'm a mess. My spreadsheet got screwed up a couple of years ago, and I just haven't caught up with it. I actually have no idea how much gold and silver I have. I mean, I have a guess. I don't actually know what I have. What I'll tell you is my calculation in my head based on what I think I might have. I'm about 60% in gold, 40% in silver. Now, I started stacking, not on purpose, but my dad was giving me silver, so I started keeping that, right? He was giving that to me. But in 2021, in July, I saw that inflation was going to be massive. I've got a background in finance and banking and a master's degree. And so, I'm always watching markets. I've been investing in the stock market since 1997. I've played the markets. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of real estate investing. And from my experience, I always saw gold as an inflation hedge. I didn't really see it as an investment ever. And so I started picking up gold in 2021, and I'm much more of a gold bug. I'd rather have gold than silver personally. I like the look of it better. It doesn't have to be in flips or in little bags. It doesn't tarnish, right? I like that. However, I like the 24 karat gold, and then you run into the problem of you got to put that into a case now, right? So I'm kind of mixed on that right now. That's the color I like better. It's the kind of gold I like better, but the stuff is really soft. I've dented buffaloes, dropping them on a hardwood floor before, and that should not dent. That's how soft gold is. So I'm a 60-40 split. I am accumulating more silver until we get down to 50, and I will probably stop buying silver altogether once we hit 50. And I'll probably start just concentrating on picking up more gold. I do have constitutional silver is a big portion of what my silver is. I do have some larger bars, and I also have, a bunch of eagles. I don't have very much foreign material. So I'm kind of the mindset that there could be some beneficial laws put in place that would exempt U.S. gold and silver from paying capital gains tax. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it does sound like if they're going to do it, that's probably the way at least the current president would go. And if he does that, I'd rather have coins that I can unload in large quantities to do that. When I buy things like bars or I buy a lot of silver eagles, for me, that's not barter. That's to put into real estate projects and businesses down the road. This is the stuff I buy for barter. This is the stuff I buy because I'm a Star Wars fan. And I have fun with some of these coins. Plus, we do a booth at the Long Beach Coin Show, and that booth will we'll have a lot of coins for sale there too. That's kind of what I do primarily. I do have way too much collectible stuff that I'm slowly selling, and it did cost me in the beginning, guys, because silver has doubled, and a lot of those coins have only gone up maybe 20 or 30%. And so I didn't lose any money, but I could have more ounces if I had just gone with less expensive silver. But I got to tell you, if all you get is just quarters, it's boring. Or if all you get is kilo bars, it's boring. You got to keep this fun. All right, too much time on that one. Sorry. So yes and no. If you can get them close to the price of regular coins, yes, it's a great buy. So pre-33 gold, if you're buying it close to spot, good deal. Same with Morgans that are graded. If you're buying coins that are 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 times the cost of the metal right now, it needs to be rare. And rare is a hard thing to define, but it should have a small, mintage, and it should also have a small population of coins that are graded. The more rare, and that's what we're going to cover off on Sunday, by the way, with tangible investments. We cover off a bunch of that information on Sunday, and then we'll probably have the other video come out like Thursday or Friday next week. As far as that goes, it's a hit and miss. It depends. Collectible coins, like, people will call these semi-numismatic coins. I don't know why. I mean, it's a Star Wars thing, right? It's a little bar. But, this stuff was selling for like $32, and the next thing you know, they were going for 55 on eBay, when you could go buy a silver eagle for about the same acquisition cost, like $32. You're better off buying the silver eagle and holding that than buying one of these. These have not gone up as much as a silver eagle. They're probably worth about the same price as a silver eagle now, maybe a few bucks more. But as we get more expensive with silver, at $100 silver, is someone willing to pay $200 for one of these? My guess is no. And so this may end up being the exact same cost as like a silver round or an eagle. And that's the problem you can get into with buying too much of that. Let's see. So I'll tell you guys a few things. number one, the only time you're going to buy silver under spot is if you're set up in a way to purchase wholesale. And the way that you're set up to do that is you have a way of turning around and selling the metals out, because normally you're going to have to buy a pretty good chunk of metals. So we do this because we have the ability to do it. I do it with a couple friends here, and we do the Long Beach coin shows together. And so we're looking to buy products so we can sell it back at, close to spot, or maybe 1% or 2% above spot. That's why we're able to buy below spot. Most people aren't going to be able to do that. You can find deals on listings locally, and there's times where people are looking to unload, and maybe their local coin shop's only going to give them 4%. You give them 4% below spot, and maybe they're willing to sell to you at 1% below spot. You guys both get a deal. He gets a better deal. You get a better deal. Those are usually very small deals that you're going to find from time to time, and they want you to take all of what they have. So sometimes that could be a tube, or sometimes that might be $100 face bag. They don't want to just give you a couple quarters, right? They want you to buy the whole thing. You got to look for those deals. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to have things like my Sigma Metalytics machines over here. You need to be working at kind of as a business. To just try to go buy at those prices, you're not really going to find that. And I don't do that for everything. That's just when things come along. I still buy from SD Bullion and from Andy through Miles Franklin, because they can find product for me that I'm looking for. They can also give me very fair prices. So I still recommend having many ways of buying. I'll buy from my local coin store as well. Sometimes it's not about the price, it's about the relationship, and it's about the ability to go back and forth. And we're going to talk about that in a minute here. I think we'll go, what time are we at? We'll go about another 10 minutes looking through your comments, and then we'll jump into, and we do have Silver GAWS later, so stay around, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe so you don't miss all the great interviews and videos coming. If you're on a vertical screen, double tap the screen. If not, there'll be a little button you can hit on your phone or your computer or TV. And if you're on your TV, pull your phone out. It's much easier to type with that. You don't want to miss the Silver GAWS. But about 10 minutes, we'll go through in a little bit more details on the coin shop. But what I'll tell you, I guess the quick thing I'll tell you guys on the coin shops, you want to have that relationship so that if someone isn't really taking silver and you need to unload silver and that's the only thing you have to do, they do it because of the relationship. Okay. There's things like that can happen. So you want to be able to build those strong relationships. All right. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I stay away from anything smaller than a 1/10 personally. Even a 1/10 does not show up on a Sigma very well. Well, gold's fine, but when you're talking silver, like the dimes kind of get a little screwy, and it's because of the copper in there. Libertads on gold or silver, they should be pure, so I don't think you're going to have a huge problem with that. But I'd stay away from the 120s. They're just easier to lose. Gram is the smallest I would go, and I would only do that if you're buying it from Costco, personally. Let's see. So this is always going to happen because there has to be a market. I mean, look, everybody's got to make a living to make things go, right? And so you're going to have your wholesale price, you're going to have your retail price on things. When silver's going for $50 an ounce, a dealer has to figure out, what can I buy this for, right? Well, someone had to mint this thing. That cost money to put it into planchets, to then stamp it. Nose is itching, guys. And then they have to distribute it and get it out there. And so if you're buying this for $50, you could have a $3 or $4 cost into it, and you want to make $1 or $2 a coin. That's where things can kind of get thrown off in how it goes into this market. And so one of the things dealers are trying to do is they're trying to not charge you, $10 more for a coin. And so they have their bid ask prices that go back and forth, and those fluctuate. So what you're going to find is there's going to be times where you have a large premium, and there's going to be a time when there's a smaller premium. And that really starts to show that the spot price, which is really the paper price of silver or gold, is not the same as physical. And that's when you're going to kind of see it. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more here. Who's going to be buying this stuff in the future in, I don't know, 6 minutes or so here. Let's see. Spot did have a massive premium a couple years ago. You couldn't get a hold of the, sorry, not Spot. Junk Silver had a massive premium. And I'm not kidding. Like, if you can go buy this at Spot or lower, and I should say melt is the right term, guys, because Spot would be based on an ounce, and this isn't exactly an ounce. It's 0.715. And anyway, you want to buy the stuff that's cheap right now and the stuff that people don't like. Like, if I were a new stacker right now and I knew what I knew, I would probably go with very low graded or raw pre-33 gold coins. That's probably the only gold I'd buy right now. And I would be buying junk silver. That's the two products I would be loading up on right now. They're being unloaded. There's a ton of it around. And they usually have massive premiums on them. And I think you get a really big swing in the future for it. Yeah, nope. It's going to be a very significant year going into next year, guys. All right, let's see what else we got in here real quick. So the main thing I'll tell you with this is if you have time and you're interested in trying to figure out how to find silver at spot, you're building a business. Okay, this isn't for the amateur that's just trying to go pick up like one tube of silver like this. If you're trying to get silver under spot, you're looking for, tens, if not hundreds of ounces of silver at a time that you're going to be buying from someone. You're basically becoming the coin shop for someone else, and you're buying up everything they have. They're willing to give you a really good price. Then you've got to find a place to sell that, or you're going to basically run out of your business very quickly. So it's about building networks. It's about finding people. It's about finding the methodologies and ways to do it. So one hint I'll give you is there's marketplaces all over the internet where people are selling gold and silver. You can go look at those, but you're going to have to meet someone at a police station. You're going to have to have a Sigma Metalytics machine to verify it. You're going to have cash. A lot of these people want cash. And then how long can you continue to be buying? Okay. So it's going to take a lot more groundwork to do that. It's not going to be something that's just, hey, I want to buy from Andy, but he's too expensive, so I'm going to go figure out how to buy from spot. Like, it doesn't work that way. There's a reason coin shops exist. Okay. We don't barter very much with this today. Another way to get silver at a good price is if you're a tradesman or you are someone that owns a business, you could tell people that you're willing to take silver for payment or part of your payment in silver, and you get to set what that spread is, what that price is. That might be a way to pick it up as well. So that's what we do. Now, one of the things I'm working on is some ways to help you guys get some better prices on some silver too. So I'm talking to Andy right now about how do we put a package together so that we have a starter pack for you guys around silver, around gold, and maybe we do a couple different t-shirt pricings on these. So what I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments is, what would you want to get? I don't know where to price that, right? For Andy to get a discount to you guys, it's got to be in enough bulk that it makes sense to do it. It saves him on some marketing dollars, right? And we can pass the savings on to you guys. But it might be like you're having to buy, $5,000 of silver to make it work. So I'm curious to see what amounts of silver are you guys interested in buying, and if you can get that at a better price, do you have interest in doing that? So it's hard for me to know. Everybody's different on what they're picking up and buying. I mean, some people, this is going to take a long time to get to a tube, and it's not quite full because I've been giving these away, or it could take someone a whole year to do this. And so it's a hard question to completely answer, but there are some ways to do that. Now, I also offer coaching through the memberships. You guys can do that. We can sit down and really go into, if you guys really wanted to figure out how to do that, I can sit down and really tell you guys how to do it. One of the reasons I don't want to say a whole lot about it on the open channel like this, maybe we'll do it on a member deal, is there's complexities to it. And I don't want you guys getting yourself into a situation where it's unsafe. I don't want you getting into a situation where you're buying fake stuff. So there's a lot more nuances to it. And it's hyper local. So like we do this in Orange County and San Diego and a little bit in LA County, and that's it. We don't really go much further than that. So I can't tell you how it's going to be in Arizona or in Florida. It's going to be a completely different market for you guys. I can tell you what we're doing, but that's something I got to keep a little bit closer because I don't want someone taking it and trying to replicate it and they screw the whole thing up. I mean, it's there. It's already sitting there. It's not like it's secret sauce or anything. It's just more of making sure I don't get anybody over their skis, so to speak. All right, let's see. So go check out these deals, guys. Looks like there's some spot deals at SD Bullion, JM Bullion, Summit Metals, Hero, Bullion, Monument Metals. So there's a bunch of spot deals to go look at. And I don't get, like, it's not like all these deals are coming in below spot, guys. A lot of times it's at spot or above spot is what I'm buying at. It's just every once in a while you find someone that needs to unload stuff and you can do that. And if we get enough that way, that's going to be a thing where we'll come out and hopefully tell you guys we can help. All right, let's talk about what we were going to talk about today, and then we'll get into some of the giveaways too. Okay, so let me pull up a couple of questions that came up here. So first off, let me see if I can pull up some stuff on X, because I want to show you guys some charts. A lot of you guys are commenting on videos, and you're acting as if you believe that we're in 2011 or 1980. And I don't think we're anywhere near there. I don't think you guys are understanding what's coming up here. All right. Let me share my screen a little bit for you guys. Okay. Okay. There we go. Well, that's still kind of small. Let's do it this way. All right. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'll try to call it out the best I can. We'll click on a few of these, make it a little bigger. Does that work? I think that works. All right. I'm also going to go down to the bottom here because it's really easy to get too far behind. So now I can see you guys down here. If you put a comment down now about what we're talking about on the screen, I'll be able to see it pretty quickly. If you haven't already done so, double click the screen or hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you're a new subscriber, these are live streams we do on Fridays. We do silver giveaways as well when we hit certain goals, and we hit one with Andy's videos, so we'll do some silver giveaways today. The other thing I just want to throw out to you guys is there's a lot more interviews coming up. This channel is interesting because it's kind of what I want to learn and what I want to know about. So I kind of follow my own stuff on that. But it's like mixing a channel that does a lot of interviews with a channel that does live streams and giveaways that kind of talks about economics as well as stacking and coins. And then we're also going to be opening up some silver stuff here in a little bit. So I want to point this out real quick. This is the concept to get in your head of when silver was at $4.50, a lot of people called it junk silver, right? They called this stuff junk, and they didn't keep it. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so much of it in circulation. They got rid of it. They got their fiat dollars. They got their jet skis. They got their condos, all that stuff. This next window here is describing what happens when it gets to 45. You know, a few more people show up. When it gets to 450, people are freaking out. And they're like, if I don't hurry and buy this, it's going to hit 1,000 and I'll never be able to own it. So like this comment here, FOMO, there's a difference between FOMO and let's say stacking. Okay. And when you look at FOMO, this is really a picture of FOMO here. Okay. So at 450, someone has to be selling silver at 450. It's probably the guy that bought it 45 and probably the guy that bought it 450. They're just $4.50. They're just not selling a ton of their stack. They're selling a little bit of it, right? And that can be totally cool. So the FOMO, though, is waiting for something and only buying it because you think it's going to go up and you're fearful, right? It's fear of missing out. Right now, I don't have FOMO, and I'm buying more metals than I have in a long time. I think I've bought more metals this year than I have any other year. And this is a way higher year than any of the other years I've been stacking in. And part of it is because I see what's going on. I see it's accelerating. I have some more funds freed up. I decided to do, more of this than maybe buying some other real estate stuff. And then I vault it and just kind of forget about it. And then I have a few pieces with me to give out to you guys. But when it gets down to FOMO here, there's a difference. So for me, a couple months ago, I described this in the Andy video. A couple months ago, I felt very strongly that this is no longer a market swing up that's going to come down, but this is a systemic problem that is completely falling apart. And it's the currencies starting to fall apart. It's the fiat systems falling apart. And what I'm noticing is the banks continue to accumulate more and more gold. And now countries are starting to accumulate silver. They're starting to make it strategic, like in the US. And then in India has been buying it like it's about to go out of style. When they're hoarding the metals like that, and retail is still not showing up and buying it. I mean, I can't get my in-laws to buy this stuff. They're like, this is stupid. Why would we own any of that? And they're like in their 80s. I've been trying to get them to do it, but they won't. And so, I feel like I need to have a little extra to help them in case something goes wrong. And, I like my in-laws, so I want them to be safe and secure and everything. But I can't force them to do any of this stuff. They just see it as old stuff that's too hard to use, and, they don't want to bother with it. They also don't want to touch cryptocurrencies. They just want cash. Cash in the bank is the way to go. Well, that can be really dangerous with some of the stuff that's coming up. Now, feeling like it's time to accumulate because that's what the big guys are doing is different than FOMO for me. I'm not buying every little thing I can find, and I'm not overpaying for it. I'm waiting until there's good deals. Another great place to buy. So the places I like to buy at, SD Bullion. I bought a ton of stuff from them. I've bought stuff from AppMex. Okay, they're a little higher priced, but they a lot of times have product no one else does, no one else has. Okay, I buy a lot from Andy Schectman. I've also bought stuff from ITM Trading. I've bought stuff from Zhang Enterprises. I've also bought from Tangible Investments. Okay, I've bought from Provident, from JM Bullion. I've tried all these places. Liberty Coin here locally. I've bought at coin shows. I've bought from coin shops up in Utah too. What I'm looking for is a particular product. I have a goal that's around it. And when I'm buying, I'm looking for a price. If they are willing to match that price or they've got a good price for it, I buy it. If not, I walk away from it. FOMO is a little bit more like I just have to hurry and grab it because I'm afraid it's going to go away. Your heart's pounding. You're doing stupid things. You're not thinking through the whole process. Okay, that's kind of the difference between those two. All right, so I wanted to show you guys that slide or that post because I thought that was interesting. I guess I should hurry and look and see if anybody had any comments on that. Okay, so this is a good question that's relevant to this. Would you sell your silver to pay off your house when the price to do so? I think you should have your house paid off. That's me personally. I don't think you should have a mortgage on your house so you can own a bunch of gold and silver. However, I am tempted to take money out of my house and do that. Having a paid off house feels really good and it's pretty awesome. You do run into some issues with taxes because you're going to be paying more. You don't have the tax write-offs and all that stuff. So to answer this question, I would say this. Everybody's a different situation. I'd rather see someone have some silver and some food storage and ammunition and some guns and, have some gold than have a completely paid off house and have no savings. Okay. I think you should also have 3 months of cash, either in the bank or in a safe. And that would be for your expenses. It's security, right? It's a foundation. So when you look at that, if you need to have a mortgage in order to do that, that's where I think it's okay to do that. If you can have a paid off house and still have that stuff, I think you're in even a safer position. Okay. You can't earn as much, but it's a safer position. It's the same thing. If you go all silver instead of having any gold, I think you're in a riskier position, but you could make more money from that whole thing. But there are times where silver gets decimated. And so, are you willing to take that risk? So my answer to your question here would be, if we don't have massive inflation, but there's a huge draw to silver and more people are buying silver, excuse me, and the price goes up to 450, I would personally consider taking some of the silver off the table and paying my loans down or my house off. I like to be out of debt. I hate debt. That means you're indebted to someone else. Okay, so I recommend not being into that position. But I can't give you financial advice. Can't tell you what to do. But it is something to kind of think about and consider there. All right, let's get to one of these other questions we had here. All right, let's start with the coin shops. So what happens when we get to $100 silver, right? When we get to $100 silver, guys, I think what's going to happen is the same thing that's happening at $50 silver. I don't think it's going to be any different. I don't think $100 is a number that's going to break, bullion dealers or the coin shops. Even $300 silver, I don't think is going to break them. I think where you're going to start to get into a problem is if inflation of wages, what we get paid, has not gone up, and we get into the point where we're at $10,000, $20,000 gold. I could see a lot of people deciding that they want to go sell that gold for 10 or 20,000 bucks because life is difficult and they want to be able to buy other things, or they're, you guys are getting more mature and you want to enjoy it a little bit. I could see more people wanting to sell that, and I could see that putting a financial burden on coin shops. The bigger bullion dealers that work directly with mints like Miles Franklin also work very closely with their wholesalers and their melters. And for those guys, I don't think you're going to have a problem selling back to them. They're just going to sell it and it's going to go back into the system. At prices like $10,000 or $20,000 for gold, I don't think all of a sudden the demand for gold goes away. I think the banks will just continue to print more. The countries will print more money, and they'll just keep buying it up. I mean, it's the same thing if we were sitting in 2000 and you were looking at $250 gold, and you're like, oh my gosh, when it gets to 5,000, no one's going to ever buy it. It's all relative. So we won't know exactly until we get there. But my guess is the smaller shops are going to have a harder time buying that, right? They may not have $20,000 cash to give you. They're going to have to write a check. That may have to wait a few days to clear before you get that money. And then they're going to have to rush it down and liquidate their coins pretty quickly. So the more expensive those get relative to that amount of money, the harder it can be for them to liquidate. So in that case, I do think having things like fractional is going to be smart. I think having gold and silver is smart. I think having different kinds of products smart. Right now, you can't sell this very, very easily at a coin shop. A lot of them aren't taking it. But they'll take the Star Wars bar, and they'll take that all day long. But, will I get retail for it? No, they'll probably give me spot price for this. And for this round, they'll probably give me, 4% or 5% back a spot. So when you're looking at it, will someone be there to buy it? I believe there will be a market to do that. Now, there's a couple times where that may break. One of those is, let's say on Monday, the LBMA and COMEX break, okay? And the paper silver trade comes unwound. We find out that over the weekend, some country or person wanted to redeem a billion ounces of silver and it wasn't there. Okay, and I'm just hypothetical on all this, but it could happen. Maybe not those details, but the theory. All of a sudden, the price of silver goes skyrocketing up, and you have these stops like you saw with the CME, where it basically broke their air conditioning, which is total BS. When you see stuff like that happening, they will continue to stop at every $3 on silver as it goes up. And then eventually it's going to break, and then it's just going to keep going up, and they're going to shut the markets down. They'll just close them, okay? Because they don't want the banks to lose so much money. They're still going to have their shorts that they can't cover, and they're naked, which means they don't have the silver to back it. It's going to decimate them. If something like that happens, there's going to be a time where your coin shop won't know what to pay you for silver, and you're not going to know what to buy it for. In a situation like that, there's just going to be no price. No one's buying, no one's selling. It's going to be frozen for a while until they can establish what's going on. Once they do that, the market's going to be back there. There's always going to be a market for this gold and silver stuff until there's not a society. And at that point, this becomes the money. Your paper isn't anyway. And so then it doesn't matter about gold and silver, who's going to buy it back, because this is the money. That's what you're going to use. If it gets to that kind of a situation, you're not using crypto. You probably don't even have access to a device or electricity or the internet on a consistent basis. So there's kind of this time point between when things get crazy and when the metals actually become money again. And that's where you can have things be a little tricky. And that's why I recommend having multiple sources that you can buy and sell back to. That way you can you can do it. I've never had a problem where I can't find someone to buy my metals. And I've never found a place where I can't buy the metals, if that makes sense. Like there's always a market, but I've got like 10 or 20 people I can go to. I don't know if that helps a little bit. Let's see here. So gold backs are cool. I wish those guys would actually let me talk to them. They've basically told me to get lost until we get to 50,000 subs, which is too bad. My most popular videos are some of them are gold back videos, but they won't talk to small channels anymore, which is too bad. All right, let's see what else you had in here. So there will always be a buyer of your metals as long as there's demand for the metals. So the biggest risk you have in gold is that all the central banks decide to get rid of gold and not own it anymore. I don't know how that would ever come about, because for them to do that, they would basically lose all their money in gold and they would cease to be the banks. What else are they going to buy with it? Bitcoin? I don't think so. They've already decided to go with gold. So I don't see that happening. Now, as far as silver goes, the demand keeps going up and up and up. Let me see if I can find. Okay, check this out. This is crazy. Look at these. These are silver bars. Let me see if I can get this post up. So these are 15-kilo silver bars, and in China, their families are just buying a bunch of these bars. They don't get into coins there. It's really efficient with this, but very boring. But hey, if you're just doing it as money and it's not a hobby, get a couple of these bars and you can hide those anywhere in your house. All right, I want to see if I can find this other chart. I'm giving you guys whiplash. I'm sorry. By the way, all of this, a lot of these, you can see I've liked them. I don't always repin them, but if you go to my Twitter account, you can see a lot of what I'm following. You can see what I'm going through. Like, you know, here's an example of one that's kind of important to look at, guys. You can see these moves that happen and the consolidations that go on. Okay. And so what Patrick's saying here, and he's the partner of Eric, by the way, that I'm talking to on Monday. You know, he's looking at, are we going to have an important consolidation here for silver? And can we potentially see it get back down to, say, 46 or 50 bucks? You'll see that there's multiple circles here, which are the three possibilities. One is we don't have much of a consolidation. It doesn't really go below 50 and it starts going higher. Once it consolidates, you can see it breaks out. Okay. So understanding charts, I think, is huge for you guys. Like this is another one here. Like, you know, when you guys are looking at silver, and I keep hearing from people, it's never going to go above 50. It's never going to go to 100. It's impossible to happen. If you're saying that, you might have that belief, but I think you're completely wrong. When you look at charts, it's mathematics, it's the universe, it's how things happen, it's the way God designed the thing. There's patterns that are followed, right? The patterns don't always work, but they work a very high percentage of the time. I took a lot of classes in stats. This is how all this stuff works in statistics. So when you look at this cup, okay, which is the bigger part, and then you have a handle here, you look at the cup, and when it breaks out and it confirms it breaks out, oftentimes, just let's say 80 to 90% of the time, it's going to follow this pattern up. And so what this shows us is somewhere between 2027 and 2033, we should see $700 silver based on the way that the patterns usually follow themselves. Okay. Now, when that happens, there can be some correction. Maybe it goes up to 700 and it comes back down to 500. But if you're waiting for it to go back down to 15 and it never did that, you missed the entire wave. So you don't want to be that person that misses everything. All right, let's see what else you guys have in here. I think silver is, I'd be surprised if silver is not at 60 by the end of the year. and it's possible to get to 70. It just depends on what happens in the market here, what the Fed does with the rate cuts. If the Fed does the rate cuts next week and they talk about, they do the quarter point and they talk about a high probability of doing another rate cut in January because we're starting to have a recession, you're probably going to get $70 silver. If they come back and say, we're doing this rate cut, but we don't think there's going to be any next year, you could see silver go back down into the, high 40s. Okay. Maybe even mid 40s because people are going to freak out over it. So yeah, it is possible to have that happen. Even 75 is possible. I did a video on how we get to 75 and what that looks like. So let's see. It's possible for gold to hit 7,000 in 2 years too. It might take a little bit longer though. These things go in patterns, guys. So let me like when we go back to this chart here, this is showing a long period of time with things going up and down with these cycles, but you can see all the jaggedness in between here, right? As you're going up and down, it's gonna fluctuate. All right, there's a silver. Okay, so this is Don. Don's going to be coming on here pretty soon. I just need to get a date with him, but he's my mining guru. This is the guy I follow for my mining stuff. I only have a couple of the stocks that are in here. I don't even know where to buy the other ones. That's one of the things I want to cover with him is, hey, Don, if we want to get into this, how do we start following you better? How do we understand all this stuff? And where can we make these kind of returns? I mean, these are insane returns that I'm seeing on here. This is one day, mind you, that he posted. So there was a mining stock here, Bear Creek Mining Corp at the top that did 35% in one day. Minanova Corp and did 21%. First Mining Gold did 20%. Those are crazy. If you guys aren't following some of these guys, you should definitely do that. This guy, Jesse, I haven't read the report very often, but he's got a decent report from the times I've read it that you can get. A lot of times you can get it for free. There may be a paid version of it. Let's see. Here's Patrick again talking about how we get to $100 silver. He's looking at 2027 for when we'd probably hit $100. I'd say we're definitely going to hit it by then based on what I'm seeing in the charts. But, you know, he's showing this line at the bottom here. We have to hold this line. If we break down this line, then everything falls apart. But there's so much demand for it. I just do not see us breaking that line. And you can see there's this accelerated line that's going up even faster. And if that continues to go up this way, then you basically hit $100 silver somewhere in June or July. So that's stuff to kind of look at. Let's see. There was a thing on silver, but I think it was a while back. Some of these things are pretty funny. Like, I mean, I don't even know if that's real. I don't know. There was a comment on there, but you got to be careful too. I mean, there's some of these posts that just go crazy, right? Like, look at this one here. This is showing we're going to be hitting in 2026. We could be hitting, 5,000. Is that crazy? Maybe not. I mean, look at how parabolic that is going up there. All right, let me see if I can. So here's the other one I'll just show. Oh, not that. This. So just look at those for a second. Okay, these are banks. Banks are conservative. They can't miss these numbers, okay? If these numbers don't happen, they look stupid. They look like they don't know what they're talking about. So they're conservative is what I'm trying to get to. I'm not seeing a single one of them that is saying that gold's going to be under $4,000 in 2026, okay? So that should tell you something right there. Morgan Stanley is putting it at $4,500. I think they're trying to play it really safe. But that right there tells you that the metals are going up. Okay, so we kind of covered that with the coin shops, right? Like there could be a time where you want to sell and they're not buying the product you want. Have a couple other coin shops you know how to go to. If we get to $1,000 silver, hypothetically, okay, I think when we get to $1,000 silver, stuff's going to be more expensive. I think part of the reason it's at $1,000 is we've had more inflation, which means there's more money out there. Okay. Now, could we get into a really dark situation where, let's say, there's a gold or silver confiscation? Not physically, but it's through taxation. Or it might be the kind of thing where they don't allow you to sell your stable coin to get into gold and silver, and you can't sell gold and silver to buy stable coin. It's kind of out of the system. Could they get to a point where they don't allow you to have and own very much of this, and you're having to kind of do it in a back alley with a handshake and trade a couple quarters? I guess maybe that could happen. But short of something really, really drastic like that, you should always have a market where you can sell your coins in gold and silver. It's going to come down to the price. So if we're looking at, let's say, a $300 price for silver and an $8,000 price for gold, and I'm just throwing these numbers out because they seem like, could we even hit that, right? They seem high, but I think we're going to hit both of those. But if we're looking at numbers like that, I still think there's going to be enough liquidity in the market for people to be able to buy those from you. Now, if we get to a point where that starts to get a little tricky, what's going to happen is they're just going to, if they're flooded with silver or flooded with gold coming in, they're going to start lowering the price that they're willing to buy it back from you at, okay? And so that's going to be like the premium or the discount that comes on it. And that's why the spot price can fluctuate. So don't get hung up on spot price is what I'm supposed to get for this, or it's worth spot price. Not really. Spot price is a guideline, okay? It's not what should be. So if you're selling below spot price, do not get all messed up about it in your head. Don't freak out over that. Or if you're having to buy above spot price, it's okay. They need to make their spread to be able to make their shop, pay their bills and electricity and stuff. If you bought it at $5 for a silver eagle and spots at $60 and the guy wants to pay you $59 for it and you're getting all bent out of shape on it, go call a couple more shops, okay? If you're believing the guy doesn't want to buy your silver from you, that's not what that means. Now, if he's so backed up he can't buy any more silver, go to the next shop, go to the next shop, go to the next shop. Call the big guys. Call AppMex. Call Miles Franklin. Call SD Bullion. I've never heard of a time where they're not buying, okay? And if we get to a time where they're not buying, the system's probably broken. It's not that they don't have interest in it, unless all of a sudden we don't need silver and gold anymore. And I don't see that happening. I only see it going up as far as demand goes, for multiple reasons. Let's see. 8K and 30 is a GSR under 27. Yeah, dude, we could get to a 10 GSR. We could get to a 1-to-1 potentially. But let's talk about that for a second too. So yeah, I know you meant 300. So GSR guys, I don't know if I can even pull that up right now. Let's see. Kiko stinks on the computer. It's good on the app, but I can't ever figure it out on the computer here. All right, well, here's a cool one to kind of look at. So historically, you tell me where it's been above 72. Okay, guys, find a time that doesn't include, today, where it's been above 72 that's on this chart. These are the ratios you should be thinking about in your head. But these ratios are not going to happen until things break, okay? The manipulation's there. The ETFs have to break, the paper silver has to break, the spot price has to break. And then what you need is you need a country like the United States, or maybe it'll be China or India. They have to back their currency with gold. And once they do that, they're going to set a standard and they're going to say, this is how much gold's worth. They're going to reevaluate to burn off their debt. For the US to do that, we're going to be somewhere around $50,000 for gold. Once they do that, they're going to also have a price for silver, okay? And they're going to have a ratio. And that ratio is normally pegged to the mining ratio. It's not always. Like in Egypt in 2000 BC, 1 to 2, I'm pretty sure that there was a lot more silver around than that. But, historically it's been around 12, 15, kind of in that range. Right now it's about 8. So we're kind of like Italy in 1275. If you don't understand this and you don't believe it can ever happen again, then I've got a lot of ice I can sell you in the wintertime. I'm not saying this ain't right, but it's like selling ice to an Eskimo. They would normally say no. The ratios are going to get low at some point. I just can't tell you when it's going to happen. 75 is ridiculous. It tells you that there's been so much manipulation to keep it down so that they can do whatever they want with the silver. At some point, there won't be enough silver. Now, I'll tell you this. If all retail investors decided to stop selling silver, the price would skyrocket. We're the ones funding all of this because they're, let's see if I can find this. We're not even mining enough silver every year. I save a lot of stuff on here, and it's not the easiest to index. Let's see if we can. Oh, that's through my save stuff. Let's go back out to X. Let's look at it from this standpoint. Let's go to. Let's just look at the GSR chart. Ugh. That's a post. I'm in the wrong place, guys. Sorry. I don't really search X on my computer. No. I'm trying to see if we can see a pattern in here real quick. See if we can do this one here. That's all backwards. I'm too tired to do things, but that guy likes to post a lot about it. All right, let's see here. I know Kevin has one. Let's see if we can get his GSR here. All right, let me see if I can get this because I want to make a couple points here. Well, now that is a laser. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to find what I'm looking for right now. Okay, let me see if there is anything else on here. This is the Fed. Everything's broken. You can look at that. Here's silver's best year. So this is something to kind of look at, guys. We are seeing good stuff right now. So, you know, being at 98%, we could end up having it higher next year. We could end up having it be quite a bit lower. So I think that's something you got to, you know, take into account. Don't expect that it's going to go up in a straight line. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of demand for it. So I think there's still a huge possibility of getting to 60 by the end of the year. Next year, I'd be surprised if we don't get to, you know, 100. I think that's a high probability next year. But it's possible that we get to 60. Maybe we even have a run up to 70 or 80, and it comes back down and the year just doesn't end that well. If we get into a recession, guys, it's very possible that we see the gold to silver ratio go higher. I wouldn't rule out 100 gold to silver ratio happening again in the next 3 years. If we have major conflicts going on, and so everybody wants to flock to gold for safe haven, but we're having a recession, you could see silver get, you know, whacked pretty hard. So that's another reason why I don't go all into silver, because I'm also trying to protect my wealth. I mean, what if I get laid off and, you know, AI takes my job and all of a sudden I don't have a job and I'm kind of done with my career at 50? You know, gold is a much better thing to kind of shore you up while you try to get your house sold and things like that too. So GSR is not something you should be focused on. Okay. Unless you're trying to play the GSR, it doesn't even matter. It's just kind of it's like a temperature gauge, right? If I look at the temperature on my phone, I can probably kind of tell what season it is outside without going outside. Okay. Likewise, if I know what season I'm in, I can kind of tell you what the temperature is going to be outside. That's all the GSR is doing. If the GSR is super high, you just know that silver is out of whack, and you know that there's more pressure on silver's price going down. If the GSR moves down, then you know that has broken and that it's starting to equalize. That's really what the GSR is telling you. The bigger indicator to be looking at is what is the dollar doing, the DXY. Let's see if I can pull anything up on that. I did pay for some charting software. I just need to figure out how to use it for trading view, I think. Once I get that figured out, guys, I'll have some things to kind of show you with that. Let's see. So this is the DXY going back to February. It was much higher. It was like at 109. It's a index based on a bunch of different currencies. The Japanese yen is a big one of them. US dollar is one of them. I think Euro's in there. But you can see that it's been down, and this isn't really showing you the pressure. But we're starting to head lower. As this goes lower here, it's going to push the price of gold and silver higher. This is more important to look at than the GSR by far. All right, let's see. So pretty soon, Nick's going to come on and teach us everything about day trading. And then she'll give us predictions, because I know she loves giving predictions to people. That's an inside joke, guys. But charting is important to understand because it can give you a guideline. It's like having a map or a GPS that tells you which direction to go to Las Vegas from California, for example. What it's not going to do is tell you exactly what time you're going to get there. It's also not going to tell you about the potholes in the road or the weather conditions, or that someone's blown their car up on the freeway. So those things aren't going to happen. Another thing to be looking at for gold and silver that's more important than the GSR is rate cuts. The rate cuts right now, the rate cut for December is baked in, not January. And when we were looking at silver going potentially back down to like 46, 48, it was not built in. Now it is. Yeah, they do. So you guys can get into a lot of the charting stuff. If I had time to really dive into it, I could. I can only do so much. I do have to sleep. Let's see. No, they're totally different. But a GPS, like a map system on your phone, like I'll show you Los Angeles here, okay? All right, let's do this. We'll go back to me. Okay, can you guys see Los Angeles? It's backwards, okay? See, there's red lines on there. If I were using this as a GPS, I would be able to see where my car is relative to these lines, and then I would have a green dot that told me where I'm going. This map is only going to tell me that there's like some slow roads. It's going to tell me which direction to go, and it might tell me to alter the direction, but it's not going to tell me the weather. It's not going to tell me if there's a pothole or that a car is blown up on the freeway. It might give me an indicator that there's a wreck or something like that, but it doesn't give me all the details. A lot of times when you're driving, especially in a big city like Los Angeles, you might leave at 3 o'clock and there's no traffic, but by the time you get to 3:15, there's more traffic, and all of a sudden your destination has had 15 minutes added to it, and then all of a sudden it continues to go, and you're like, wait a second, I've already been in the car for 40 minutes and I've only gone 15 minutes of distance. They're different tools. They do different things, but they don't tell you the whole picture and the whole story. GSR is not going to tell you whether gold's going up or silver's going up. It's just going to tell you the ratio and relationship of the two metals to each other. And then you have to look at historical values and you have to say, okay, what has the GSR usually been? Well, if it's normally been 12 to 1 and it's at 72 right now, well, then I would say silver is drastically on sell right now. All right, we're going to do GAWS here in a minute. All right, we're going to open these things. You guys want to open these things? Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to open these packages. I've got 4 of them, and we can see what's inside. If you don't, and you just want to keep looking at X stuff, put a 2 in, and we'll do that. So yeah, we went up to Northern California, and we're coming home on Sunday night, and it added another 2 hours because of traffic, and it kept adding it. And so the system wasn't smart enough to anticipate all of that because it was Thanksgiving weekend, and everything was just a complete mess. All right, you guys want me to open it? I'll do that. All right. Everything's in a cycle. When no one wants to buy it, that's the time you should be buying it in most things in general. So Nick's going to find this out if she's doing stocks. You don't buy the stock when everybody's hot on the company. Okay. You buy the stock when they've had a bad quarter, but all the fundamentals are good. Okay. They just maybe missed something, right? Something went wrong. You may be looking for a company that is really strong, but it's not loved by Wall Street. And so it's not, doing as well. You're looking for things like that are going to give you the swings if you're a trader. I did amazingly well day trading for a while, but it was so much stress. My wife, she wouldn't let me do it anymore because that's all I was doing is just checking it all. If you get into the charts and you understand what's going on, you have the ability to do some really cool stuff. Okay, I'm going to take off this back screen so that it doesn't keep doing weird stuff. You're just going to see a white wall for a bit. There you go. So we'll put Drew's painting back up. So this is kind of a cool painting, guys. And what I liked about this when I saw it is there's a surfer and there's these big waves and he's a little dude. And he's just getting started, and he sees this big potential. So I was like, "This is kind of cool, like the potential of the channel here." However, it's not a big painting, so it doesn't really take up the whole background. So it's just the little thing on the wall. All right, this one came from. Well, this all came from the Wounded Warrior Project. Let's see what we got in here. All right, what do we get here? Everything's going to come in backwards. So this is Sassy Susan. Well, that sticker, that's pretty cool. Here, let me take that down so I can see what you guys are doing. Oh, I don't even know what that button was. Let's see, what did I put up here? Oh, junk silver is going to become not rare, but in demand when everything starts to fall apart, okay? When people start thinking we're going into the end of the world, junk silver is going to skyrocket. That's the stuff that's going to go super high. The other thing that's going to happen is when there's fear of confiscation, pre-33 gold is going to go through the roof. Okay. You don't even need to have the confiscation happen. Just the fear of it, people are going to freak out. Also, when rich people decide, hey, I need to start buying gold, I've been all in Bitcoin or I've been in the stocks, they tend to not want to have, boxes and boxes of monster boxes of silver somewhere. They may just want to have one box of NGC 20 coins and one of those black boxes of, pre-33 gold that is worth $1 million for 20 coins. So you got to kind of think through that. Sassy Susan, boom, look at that. That's a pretty cool sticker. She must be a cat lady. That is like a lot of cats. That many cats would basically end my life with allergies. I'd die in that situation. Excuse me. All right, we are going to do some silver giveaways in a minute. There you go. Here's another cat. All right, what do we get here? So this is a good project doing the Wounded Warrior stuff, guys. It helps. It's a good cause, and you end up with some silver to do something with or give it away. So this was this thing here. I know these things are backwards. There's no way to fix that, is there? I don't know. Let me look. Oh, maybe I can fix it. Is that fixed? All right. Look at that, guys. Now it's fixed. Okay. So you can see that. I'll give you the stickers back. Elliot or something. And Sassy Susan. All right. I guess I was stuck on the wrong setting. I didn't think you could switch it over. You can't do it on the phone with eBay or with YouTube. All right. I got this one for my daughter because she is actually taking EMT classes. So there you go. Boom. That's pretty cool. Silver round. It says thank you, has the American flag on it. So that's pretty cool. All right, what do we got in here? This feels cool. We've got Sorcerer Stan, 1 ounce Doctor Strange something. Oh, I think I know what this one is. All right, guys, give me just 1 second. I'm having some allergy issues. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. Mute it for a sec. Well, now I have no idea where my glasses went. Oh, well. I think Sassy Susan's cats are getting to me. That's what was going on there. All right, we're going to do silver giveaways in just a minute, but I'm going to pull a few of these things out. Okay, this is Doctor Strange. So I don't have any of these things, but that's kind of cool. So this will probably be a piece I might put up on eBay, or we'll maybe do something else with it, but there you go. It's a 1 ounce, 2025. It looks like there were 27 of these out of 250, or this is number 27 out of 250. So that's kind of cool. Muted again. All right, now you can hear me. There you go. Okay, this is from Angry Warrior 1 ounce silver pour. So you can see on the back of it that it's a pour, but on the front of this, you would never know that's a pour. Look at this. That thing's cool. I don't know how to get it to focus, the camera to focus, guys. One of these days we'll get better setups on everything, but that's pretty cool. It's even got like total 3D and everything. Look at that. So that is cool. I do think having some fun pours is really cool. I wouldn't recommend having a ton of that, but I think those are pretty cool. All right, what do we got here? This one's from Silver Dragons. I think I know which one this is. It should feel heavier though. It doesn't feel very heavy. All right, what do we get in here? I think we got a COA in here. And a bunch of stickers. So we got the Silver Dragons official business card. Then we've got the Silver Pros right there. That's kind of cool. And then we've got a Silver Dragon stacking pouring sticker. And we got a grain sticker. I think he's got a lot of stickers left over. That's what I think. There's a bunch of stickers. If any of you guys want these and you win the GAW, let me know. We'll send you some stickers. And then here's the, look at that. It's 3 troy ounces. What do you guys think it is? So that's the COA there. And it's in here. All right. Here we go. You guys know what is this thing? I don't know what this is. What is that? So this is 3 ounces silver pour from Silver Dragons. It's not a surfboard. However, it would be, I mean, if you can make a surfboard work like that, it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it's Millennium Falcon. Anyway, that's pretty cool. I'm a big Star Wars fan. So this is something that we're going to add to the collection. We'll put that out at the coin show. All right, we got one last box in here, and then we'll do our silver giveaways. I don't even remember doing this stuff. Okay, we got 2 things here. So the first one is a Silver Pac-Man. There's Silver Pac-Man. He has mirror eyeball finishes. So 1 ounce, 2022. So stuff like this, unless you're a massive Pac-Man fan, I wouldn't buy this unless you can get this for around the same price as, you know, just around. I'd be careful overpaying for things like this. Now, if you're doing a Wounded Warrior project, it really doesn't matter what you pay for it. It's about helping people out. Let's see if it tells us. It's not colored, so I don't know which one it is. It's just the generic Ghost. It doesn't say which one it is. You can get a colored version of these, and then I think it does have the names on there. Now, cool fact, my father-in-law's best friend in college was Nolan Bushnell that started Atari. And my father-in-law was given the first offer to be the first investor for, I think it was $1,000 or $500, and he didn't have it because he was a starving student. So he had to pass on being the first investor in Atari. And I bet that cost a lot. All right, we got one of these guys here, 2021, Morgan Dollar. So that's kind of cool. I had the 2022, but I didn't get a 2021. This could be worth sending into grade. There you go. That's pretty cool. Let's see, can you see the CC at the bottom? Oh, it's not focused enough, but it should be down below there. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So I didn't have one of these. I kind of missed out on that. These came out before I started actually really stacking. So I haven't been stacking that long, guys, but I have been learning like crazy, and I have been stacking like crazy. And so, you know, for you that people that are getting started, I don't think it's too late to do this. And I think you can still learn a ton from everybody that's out there. And I think there's a lot we can do with that. All right. So we're gonna do some giveaways here. First rule is you have to be a subscriber. So if you're not a subscriber, hurry and press the subscribe button. Okay. To redeem this, send me an email, stackingsurfer@gmail.com. In the title, put Silver GAW, put the date. Excuse me. Down below in the body of the email, give me your mailing address, tell me your channel name, and also where you want me to mail it to, and then remind me what the Silver GAW is, and then take a screenshot of your channel that you're subscribed to my channel. If you can, take a screenshot of your winning with your name up. It'll be even better. But let me get this prepped real quick, and we're going to do the giveaway tool here. All right, so I've already started it. Stop. This thing's always temperamental. All right, so this is what you guys need to put in. You only need to put it in once. Is the giveaway tool rigged? I don't know. I didn't make it, so I didn't rig it. Oh gosh, kids have been ordering too many things off of eBay. All right, so put that in there. Here's what we're going to do tonight. Well, actually, first off, what did we get to on the thumbs up mods? Tell me how many thumbs up we got. And we're going to run this a couple times for people. We'll do it quickly because I'm going to start dying of allergies here because of Sassy Susan's kitty sticker. Apparently, I don't have to be with the cats. I just have to see a cat. $91.77. All right. Okay. Okay, now, if you're in the vertical stream with your phone like this, go over to my channel real quick and go to the lives and click on the one that has 94 thumbs up. Okay, can you guys see that? Because I don't know it's going to pull from both of them to do this. I think it's only going to pull from one. So go over to this one that has 94 thumbs up. Let's get that to 100, and we'll do 3 giveaways here. But yeah, go over to this one because you can put it in. I don't think it's going to work on the other one. I'll give you guys a minute because we're going to do 3 of these. All right. Let me check something else real quick. All right. How many we got? We got 56. I don't know, something like that. 56. Okay. Let's see if we can get up to 60. We'll give it just a couple more minutes here, guys. Keep putting in the GAW there. Ooh. So I do need to put some other. I have so many videos to do. I wish I had more time. I did get my Army one graded. It came in as a 70, and then I had my Navy graded, and I'm waiting on the Marine one. I better double check that that's coming through. That might be going to OC Stacker's house. OC, do not open that thing. Anyway, sometimes I get screwed up, but we're gonna do some giveaways here. What do you guys think? Should we do quarters or dimes today? What do you guys think? All right, where are we at? We're at 61. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think we're giving people enough time to get over here. Quarters. Rob says we should do quarters. We got a few of them. I've also got dimes somewhere. Got dimes somewhere. See, the guys that are saying dimes, they're looking out for me. But I did tell you guys we're doing these mining videos, okay? So I only did 4 this year. And I get so many complaints about it. And you guys get so mad that there's a mining video. That pays for the GAWS. Don't get angry. Watch it. You don't have to buy the mining stock. You don't even have to be in mining stocks. You can also fast forward it if you really don't like it. But it's kind of hard to look a gift horse in the mouth and then slap it really hard. That's what I always say. All right, let's do this. We're going to do I don't have my dimes in front of me. We're going to do 2 quarters and a dime, okay? All right. The first one's going to be for a dime. The second one's going to be for a quarter. And the third one's going to be for a quarter. If I had someone that could mail all this stuff for me, and it's not OC Stacker because I'm still waiting for him to mail some quarters. It's been 2 months. Then I would probably do just a bunch of dimes and we get it out there. I mean, I think this one's going to L, and it's like a month old. You have no idea. Like, I don't know if you can see it. My arms here are all bruised. I've been hooked up for 3 weeks in a row. I've had them take a third of my blood out to clean it. Good news is I'm feeling way better, but I have a lot of health issues. So I just don't get the time out to get out there and do that very much. All right, we're going to run this thing. So this is the first one for a silver dime. Let's see where it goes. Boom, Joey Libs 6236. So email me, title, put in GAW, put in there the dime, and I'll send out some stickers, or I'll send out at least a sticker with each of these 2. So congratulations. I'll see if I've got a Mercury dime laying around. Those are kind of fun. I like those. It might end up being it might not be a Mercury. I'll have to see what I got, but I do have a couple of those laying around. End of the year, we are going to do some more 1 ounces as well. So we're going to have a party for that. So Joey, do send me an email. Put in Joey there. Take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot that you are subscribed. That helps me. And then if you can send that by tonight, all the winners, please send these tonight so that I can get these packaged and ready to go. That way you don't have to wait a month for it. We are going to do a bigger live stream on New Year's if I can, as long as I'm not sick. And we'll do some more silver giveaways to kind of celebrate the year. If we can get to 17,000 subscribers by some miracle, and you guys just pump this thing, and we've got a couple of great interviews and videos that go crazy, I'll be giving out a 10th ounce of gold, one of the gold toros from Spain. All right, we're going to go run the second one. You guys ready? So we're going to run that. All right. We're going to draw it again. Here we go. Here we go. Who's going to be the winner? Mr. Eric H5470. Now, for all of you guys that have these numbers, like, did you pick those numbers or did YouTube pick them? Some of these numbers seem really random. They're not like birth dates. So I don't know what that thing means. All right. So it'll be one of these two quarters. Okay. I don't want to get too picky on that, but I got these quarters here. So Eric, congratulations. Send me the email as well. Take the screenshots. That would be awesome. And congratulations. YouTube picked them. That's weird. I can't believe there's Mr. Eric H and that there's 5,470 of them. So it's just, I wonder how they pick those. It just seems really random. Interesting. Yeah, you got to watch out for that. All right, let's see. We got one more to go here. I got to make sure we hit the 100 on this last one for that to count, though. Did we get to 100? Because that's why we're doing 3 of them here. Got to make you guys earn these a little bit. Mods, did we hit 100? I need to make sure we hit 100 first. I just see 94, but I could be wrong. Rusty, there's only one of Rusty. Yeah, hashtag GAW. There you go. All right, we're at 103, so we can do this next one. All right. You guys ready? Let's do this. Who is it going to be? It's probably going to be OC Stacker. He wins like everything. Woo, it was almost me. I don't have that Yankee rule, though. Okay. Reformed Bear 2558. I hope that's not like your home address or something. Anyway, congratulations, guys. So here's the deal. We've got a handful of interviews coming up. So we are going to have Don Durrett on. Hopefully we'll have Eric King Kong again before the year's over. We're going to have Kevin Wadsworth from North Star Bad Charts coming on Monday. I've already got 2 great videos with Syl from Tangible Investments talking about pre-33 gold and how to not waste your money on pre-33 gold. If you guys are even remotely interested in pre-33 gold or getting the most bang for your buck with gold in this bull run, you got to watch that video. It'll drop on Sunday. I've also got a video with Silver Heist about the Mayflower. So I went out and visited him, and he gave me a tour with his wife of the Mayflower. And anyway, that's going to be a really cool video coming up. So Rob, take a screenshot there, send me an email. So we've got that video coming up. And then I have 3 videos about the way I have 10 ways I like to stack. 3 of those videos are done. They're filmed, or shot. They're not edited yet. So I need to get those edited. And then I've got, I bought the sunflower gold and silver coins, as well as I think it was my Navy coin. And so I want to do a little video on those and have you guys guess. Maybe we'll do that on a live stream, what grades they are before I pull them out. And then the other thing that I'm working on with video wise is a Costco video. I know Spectacular had one today that he kind of put out, and I think he's probably one of the first people to do a video on the Costco. This is a different angle, though. You guys, I think everybody's missing the whole Costco game completely, and I think you're playing it wrong if you're doing the Costco game. And I want to teach you guys the tricks of that a little bit better. There's some timing that's very important there, and most of you aren't taking into account inflation. You're not taking into account of depreciation of your U.S. dollars when you're buying that stuff, and you're not playing the game right. So most of you aren't getting the advantage of being able to figure out how to always buy under spot at Costco. Okay, there's a way to do that. I'll probably be getting that out. What else do I have coming up here? We're going to try to get Lynette Zhang on again. I haven't been able to get in touch with her. We should have Andy next Tuesday as well. We'll do a fun live stream party at the end of the year. I will try to do one of these next Friday, but I might be a little wiped out from next week. Okay, here's a question. She is now, however, she's not willing to sell the house. I wanted to get an RV, sell the house, and go all in on silver. She said, no way. She likes the house too much. So, the way that you find out if your spouse or your significant other is okay with gold and silver stacking and all of that, take all the cash out of your bank account, show them the bank account, and say, I don't know, I'm just making this up, but basically give them an alternative. Should I go sell some gold or silver, or should we not make that purchase that you want to make? And if they say go sell the gold and silver, they're not on board. If they say, I guess we will just have to not eat out this month and we'll have to really, tighten our belt on groceries, then you got a stacker there. Okay. And my wife was not very much into this at the beginning because she thought I was just doing some stupid collectible stuff. But the more she sees it, and she'll watch, I think she's watched 2 or 3 of my videos over the almost 2 years I've done it. I think she's starting to understand a little bit more about that, see what we're doing here. And, she's looking at that and she's saying, hey, maybe you should hold on to these coins. Things are going to keep going up. And I show her how the price has been going up on it. But like anything, it's not good to be 100% into something. It's not safe. You should diversify to a degree. However, I will tell you that most people that get rich, and I know a lot of very rich people, I know several billionaires, they get rich from one thing. Okay, they don't get rich from diversification. They get rich from building a business that they focused all their life and energy into, or they get rich from buying everything into like Bitcoin. Okay, and they risked it all and they did it early. And I used to like Bitcoin. I don't anymore because it's no longer a libertarian form of money that was set up to be peer-to-peer. It's basically now held hostage by the ETFs. It's going to be rehypothecated like silver and gold are. You're already starting to see it. A bunch of paper Bitcoin's going to come on, and it's going to really hurt their price from going up to where they want it. It's also way too dependent on the system and the network. This is in my hand. You can't take it out of my hand very easily. So yes, my wife is on board with stacking, but my tendency is to maybe overboard it a little bit, and so she's kind of freaking out on that. Now it's not exactly a Ponzi scheme. MicroStrategy looks like a complete Ponzi scheme to me, but Bitcoin is more or less just an asset that's been hijacked, and it doesn't do what it was set up to do anymore. It is my problem with it. No, that's not to say not to own it. What I'm saying is I'm not comfortable holding it. Okay, you could trade it if you had enough money, and you could buy Bitcoin for a small percentage of your portfolio. Maybe you hedge it, because I could be wrong. Maybe it will go up a lot. I mean, it does look like it's a liquidity sponge to soak up all of this money printing that's going to go on. So I still think you probably will see $1 million Bitcoin. The problem is will they pull the plug on it at some point? Anybody that says you can't pull the plug on Bitcoin does not understand software, technology, the internet, fiber optic cables, electric, all this stuff. They don't understand any of it. Quantum computing, AI. If they tell you they understand that and that there's no risk to Bitcoin, then they're lying through their teeth. Okay. The internet's controlled by the government. They can pull the plug on it anytime. So is the power. They can pull the plug on that stuff. You still have to have a device. They're going to be putting digital ID on everything, and they can lock you out of it. So I do not want anything that is going to keep me out of it. I want to get out as much fiat as I can before the stable coin comes. Gold and silver is the way to do it. All right, let's see. You guys had a couple more quick questions. I don't know if that was to me. I don't have Bitcoin. Well, maybe like 25 bucks of it or something sitting on a wallet somewhere. I do like XRP. I do have some of that. And I do think it could potentially be used in the Swift system, but it's also possible that they could jack around with that whole thing too, and just never have it on the public ledger. And it would take forever for it to burn and do stuff. So I only buy crypto with what I can completely lose my money in and have it go to zero. But my goal with all crypto is to get out of it and buy more precious metals. But I'm a real estate guy, and I'm also a gold bug that's now starting to buy silver. And when I look at it too, the other thing I will say is this. I hope that there's a day where they stabilize the currency again with gold. And when they do that, it's going to flatline gold. There's not going to be a spot price anymore. There's just going to be what gold is worth. And when that happens, I do plan on selling a portion of my gold and silver and buying real estate to have cash flow producing stuff. Hey, Joey, thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. So I'm doing more and more of this. I'm starting to understand it more. It's just that silver's a pain in the butt to store. It takes up a massive amount of space. You have to have the conditions right or it starts to go bad. It's one of the reasons I like this stuff. You know, you can just throw this anywhere you want. I mean, honestly, if someone breaks into your house and sees a jar in your kitchen full of this, they're not going to think it's silver. They're not going to try to take that. It's not going to be worth their time. It's too heavy. So there's a lot of good things with that. A lot of XRP and silver people go hand in hand too. Stop putting stuff in your septic tank. Don't do it. I'm not putting anything in my septic tank. I mean, I guess at last resort, if the feds are at your door with a bunch of guns and stuff and they're coming for your silver and the world's gotten that bad, I guess maybe you could put it in there, but I wouldn't do that. You could put your silver, not this junk silver. It's not pure. Okay. This is only 90%. These pure silver coins can go in water and they'll purify your water. So you could have a big water barrel and dump a bunch of coins at the bottom of it. And, you know, most likely no one's going to find that. It's just how you're going to get it out. I have a little bit of Ethereum too, but I don't have a lot. For me, anytime I buy Bitcoin or I buy Ethereum in any big chunk and it's up, you know, anywhere from 10 to 20%, I usually sell it. There's just something that is uneasy with me in just holding a bunch of that stuff. Now, if I can get 100% out of debt and I've met my stacking goals and I can actually figure out what I own, because I don't know what I own right now, and I'm good with it and I've got extra money and I want to take the bet on it, I may buy some of those, you know, Ethereum and Bitcoin. I don't think they're going away right now. I think they're going to be liquidity sponges, at least for Bitcoin. Ethereum has some real world uses. Like, you know, if I were to build a loyalty program for a company right now, I would use Ethereum or Solana to basically build the loyalty program around it. It's a great way to do it. So, you know, there are things that can happen there. No, I'm not getting my hands dirty in the septic tank. Gosh. I don't own anything. So technically, this is a GAW going to someone else. I don't own any of this silver, not mine. I don't own the house. And I don't have very much of anything into my name. My company doesn't have much of anything in its name either. I like to be very ghosty. I recently bought a used car from a car dealership that was certified used. And the guy's like, you don't show up on anything, like you don't exist. Yep, thank you. Just show up on a couple credit cards and that's it. That's the way I like it. I don't like people knowing my business or what my net worth is. I'm never going to go brag. If I end up buying a Porsche, people will probably never know I bought a Porsche. That's just not that's not my style. I'd love to be off grid. It's hard to do that here in California, but someday would be awesome. All right, we got more questions here. Do you think that they will knock silver down in price by the end of the year, like they did last year to keep silver ending the year at, yeah, there's no way. I see less than 0.5% possibility they can knock it down to 30. That would be huge to do it. I mean, let me put it this way. If they knock it down to 30, I'm going to go sell a car or two and I'm buying silver. And my family can deal with one car. That's what I would go do. So I think other people would probably load up on silver big time too. So even if they knock it down to 30, you're not going to be able to probably pick up silver for under 40 bucks an ounce because the dealers are buying right now at 48 and 50. They are not going to take that massive hit. They just won't sell it to you for that. There's no way they're going to take that hit. So if they knock it down to 30, then we will have a complete decoupling of physical and paper spot price. I will go sell a car, at least one of them, and I don't know, a bunch of other crap around my house to go buy silver. And if gold's still high, I will basically, I will just go flip a ton of gold into silver if that happens. So I don't think it would stay there very long, even if they did. But to get it down to 30 is pretty drastic. I mean, that breaks all the charts. You know, you'd almost have to have the stock market crash by 80 to 90% to get it to go below 30 again. So I don't think that's possible. Could they try to get it to go below 50 before the end of the year? That's very possible. So I think we have two plays here. I think we're either going to see that they kind of let it go and it gets up into 60, maybe a little above 60 by the end of the year. Or I think they're going to try to crush it and make sure that the year ends below 50. 30, I wouldn't count on seeing $30 silver ever again unless we have a 1929 style stock market crash. That makes more sense because that's what I would say. Yes, I think they're going to try to crush it down there. I don't know if they'll be successful at doing it though. But 30, I just don't think we're going to hit 30. It can. Here's what can happen if we have the stock market go down by 90%. First, you'll see Bitcoin crash before the stock market. Then you're going to have the stock market crash. And what's going to happen is those people that have those equities and cryptos, they're going to get margin called because one thing that's different between a stacker of precious metals and a crypto stacker or a equity stacker is metals people tend to not leverage themselves. Most of you probably didn't go take a loan out against gold and silver so you could have it. Now, technically, if you still have a home loan or a car loan, you're kind of doing that, but let's take that aside. You didn't go and leverage it with a stockbroker like mining stocks. And if you are doing that, be very careful. You can get burned very quickly on that. I've been in places like that before where I've had a stockbroker calling me every day for, about 2 weeks saying, hey, you owe me another blank amount of money. The blank is just the dollar amount. He wasn't saying blanking money. But after a while, I said, just sell everything. I don't even care anymore. Stop calling me. Liquidate it. And so you got to watch out for that. When those start getting liquidated, if they own any precious metals, they're going to sell the precious metals to pay the margin. And so you can have the metals drop pretty good when that happens, but it doesn't mean that the physical price is necessarily going to go down with it. It just means the spot price may go down because people that are playing the stock market with SLV and GLD, the two ETFs, which in my opinion, you should never own. I would not own those. I won't own them. I don't like ETFs in general. I think the only one I have some money in is the SLG, whatever. It's the junior silver miners. I try to stay away from mutual funds and ETFs. I like to own the underlying stock. You can get the dividends that way. Plus, you also don't have the fees that go along with it. So the other thing I'm just going to say, though, on that is it could go down. You could see silver go to 18 bucks. You could see gold go down to $1,000. Anything's possible. But what you have to realize is there's still going to be money around. And when assets that are hard and sound like gold and silver go down, there's going to be people that'll be down there to pick them up. and they're not going to stay down there very long, and they're going to start to go up, and they'll be continuing to go up as we come out of, you know, any kind of a major crash. All right, let's see. We did have the GAW we already hit. Sorry, EcoLeaf. It is a deflationary spiral. So a lot of times what will happen is you'll have an inflationary spiral, which is what we had a couple of years ago, and we're still in it a bit. A lot of times the inflation goes in threes. So you have three inflationary periods. We've already had the first one and finished it. We're in the beginning of the second one. We'll probably have a third one closer to 2030. A lot of times after you have these inflationary spirals, you get a deflationary spiral, and that's where everything kind of unwinds. And if it becomes deep enough on the deflationary, everybody starts losing jobs. No one has any money. They're worse than inflationary. Inflationary feels a little bit like I need to go get a second job, or I need to work a few more hours. Deflationary feels like I have nothing to do and I can't even eat. You don't want deflationary. Yeah, me too. But I'm going to sell the truck. So I'm going to have to go carry it all by myself. So I'll borrow someone else's truck. So this is good too. Yeah, you guys can get the AppMex card or the One Gold card. You earn medals when you buy from them. So if you're buying from those guys, that's a good play. You get a better benefit from it. It actually covers your fee with the credit card. So I'm just going to give you guys a little hint. Let's say you set up a Whatnot store or an eBay store. You could use the AppMex credit card to go buy some pretty cool stuff on AppMex, buy the stuff that's on sale, get it in bulk. You got 30 days to pay your credit card off, hurry and turn around and sell it. And now you got the cash to pay your credit card off. You know, if you got desperate enough, you could do that and keep turning it around. And you basically use the, whatever bank they use. I forget which bank it is. And you get to earn free gold and silver with it too. This is going to break. When this breaks, it's going to be really ugly and bad, guys. It's going to push a lot of people towards gold too. Okay, they do have escape routes, but they don't always work. Right now, everything's using bots and using AI. If you guys remember a few weeks back, Bitcoin crashed really hard, and it took out almost every stop loss that's ever been put into Bitcoin, and just wiped them out. And then it basically jumped back up very quickly, and it was within like a couple minutes of each other. That sold a lot of people's positions really low, and anybody that was on margin got wrecked. So I don't know why that's not in the news more. I would think that a lot of people would have been out of Bitcoin and just said, forget it, because of that happening. Be very careful stop losses. You need to understand what you're doing. I stopped doing them on crypto because it's too volatile. You know, you'll buy something at $2 and then it goes down to $1.50, hits your stop loss, and the next thing you know, it's back up to $2.50. And now you've lost a bunch of money. Plus, you're gonna have to pay more money to get it back. And I'm just not into playing that kind of stuff. There are things that can kind of stop it, but here's what happens when the market really crashes. So when a stock goes from $100 down to 50, it doesn't mean that someone actually sold the stock for that to happen. It can happen just by sentiment. There are what's called specialists, and the specialists kind of help determine what the price should be. So if we wake up tomorrow and the specialists have decided that, or on Monday, the specialists have decided that all the AI stocks are overvalued and it's really bad and we need to move out of them, they can basically have all the stocks start at 10 or 20% below their value starting on Monday, and everybody gets wiped out, loses money, especially the ones that are going long on it. And that can all happen without a single trade. The stock market is a casino. It's not how companies make money. You make money from your IPO when you put the shares out there. You make money when you are issuing more shares for your company at the IPO, or if you do another offering. Outside of that, it doesn't make any money. So, you know, a company can still be worth billions and billions of dollars and operate well, and their stock can go down to zero, and it doesn't affect the company. I don't think a lot of people understand that. Something happened to the other feed? I don't know. It's a new feature, so it may not work very well. Yeah, they're both, it shows they're both going on here. So I don't know. Yeah, my favorite coin to stack gold is the Buffalo. I love those. I think they look really nice. And they look really new. My next favorite coin to stack is going to be St. Gaudens. And then my third one's going to be the $10 Indian. And then my fourth one is going to be the $5 Indian. Those are my favorite coins to go and stack. However, you can't get married to your coins. That it is just money. Okay, so the way to start with miners, I don't know. I probably need to do a video on that. And what I'd like to do with miners is, this is something I want to do for the membership. It's $3 a month. You guys can cancel anytime you want. I'm hoping we can get the memberships up to where I think there's like 30 people in there now. I'd like to get it up to 50 to 100 people and start doing some member-only videos where I can dive into that a little bit more. And we can do it on Zoom where you can ask me live questions, and we can take each person at a time and kind of go through it. That's the best way for me to go through that. Are you saying yeah, you guys go to the other feed if you're not seeing it. We're still kind of going. How would I get started with mining stocks? First off, do you manage your own portfolio with stocks? If the answer is yes, then what I would do is I would go look up on X the top 10 gold and silver mining stocks. And there's one place I would start with Dawn. So let me bring this up. I'll give you guys a little bit of stuff here. I'll just give you a hint on this. If I give all my secret sauce away, no one's gonna watch all the videos. Let's see. No, that's not what I want. Okay, what I want is this. This will make sense in a second when you guys see it. I'm not spelling his name right. A second here. It's Direct. Okay. He calls a group of stocks. Oh, it's not going to bring it up. Mormon, which is funny. Okay. Here we go. So this is where I would start. Let me pull this up. Boom. Okay, this is one of the places I would start and look at. So this is a playoff polygamy, if you guys know what that is. So Collier Mining has been awesome. Okay, that one's done really well. I got into that in May, made about a 200% return on it. Now I bought more of it almost at the top, and so my return's only about 25% right now. Endeavor Silver Corp, this one, I bought this a little too high, but I still think it's going to perform pretty well. First Majestic, I've got pretty good money in that, and it's done well. Hecla has done really well for me. That's probably my best performing one right now. And Pan America Silver Corp. So I don't know this one here, Silvercrest Metals Inc. But these are some basic ones you can get into here that I think are pretty good. There's also like Newmont and Barrick Gold that are pretty steady. So those are kind of the ones that I would recommend taking a look at. We're going to bring Don on, and I'm going to ask him, some of these questions. Where should people get started? How should they get into this? So my first thing is you need to understand the stock market before you start buying gold and silver mining stocks. And then the next thing you need to understand is that gold and silver mining stocks are crazy. They're like bucking broncos. you know, I lost about $10,000 on these guys several years ago because they weren't doing anything and they weren't following all of the trends until I really realized that the mining stocks don't do what the spot price does. And then I got back into it and I've made some decent money on it, but I haven't cashed out yet. And because I'm not a trader, I'm more of an investor. I'm waiting for the bigger moves. If you have silver go up 100% in 1 year, you could potentially see the silver mining stocks go up 2 or 3 or 400%. So there's a huge advantage with the mining stocks, but you also have to understand these are businesses. So, you know, silver could be doing really well and you could have someone that's a CEO that ends up having a conflict, or they do something wrong, or their mine dries up, or, you know, they bought another company and something went wrong with it. So you have all those other issues and dynamics you have to worry about with mining stocks. The other thing is it's subject to the stock market. If the stock market's crashing and going down, the mining stocks are going to go down, even if gold and silver is going up. So it's a different beast. It's something that you've got to test out, and it's something you got to play around with. So I can't give you guys financial advice on it. I'm not telling you to buy these. I'm just saying that Don knows his stuff, and this is one of those that could be good to take a look at. I would follow him and kind of see what he hits. And in time, we'll do a little bit more of that on the site too, or on the channel, I should say. Let's see. Yeah, those are cool, but I'm not going to go pay stupid money for them. I think anybody that does is wasting their money on those. It's still just bullion. You're better off going and buying graded pre-33 gold than buying that. But if you're like Nick, I think she picked up one for a really inexpensive price from an auction somewhere. So, you know, you can do that. PCs aren't getting any of the chat. I don't know. That's really weird. Nothing's changed on my end here, so it must be a problem with StreamYard. Is it smart to buy Krugerrands? I think Krugerrands are the most universal coin you can buy. And they're probably one of the most minted coins that are out there. The problem you run into with Krugerrands, and by the way, I do have some of those. The problem you run into with them is this. They're not 24 karat gold. They're 22 karat gold, like a gold eagle. Some countries, especially like in China and in India, they want the 24 karat gold. And they don't care if it's a coin. They like bars. They go for what is the cheapest thing. So it kind of depends on what you're trying to do. If I definitely would not pay the same price for a Krugerrand as I would for like an eagle or a buffalo. So you may be paying like $200 or $300. So Andy on the video I did yesterday, he said he's actually, I think maybe he told me this afterwards. The cost is like $300 for a buffalo right now, for them to get a hold of those things. And then they've got to tack on their fee on top of that to make any money from doing it. So if you're paying like $350, $400 premium for a buffalo, and maybe you're paying $150 premium for an eagle, your Krugerrand should probably be like a $30 to $50 premium on top of spot. If it's more than that, then you're probably overpaying for it. I don't really like the Chinese pandas. They a lot of times do weird things with the grams on that. But you know, I wouldn't worry about buying gold for what the BRICS countries are going to go for. Like, that's not part of my equation. That's not something I worry about. What I would be looking at is primarily, I like to buy pre-33 gold for, you know, my 90% gold, for example. And then my pure stuff, I like to get in buffaloes if I can. Another good coin to get is a maple leaf. You can pick those up too. And those are 4/9 fine gold. So they're a little bit more refined even. Always do your own due diligence. Everything's pretty complex, guys. Yeah, so silver, you guys, silver is going to disappoint you in your life. So be careful. That's one of the reasons I'm not heavy into silver is it has huge potential, but it could also disappoint us. It may not do as well. If the economy is not really humming and the banks decide to keep manipulating it, it may not do what you want it to do to perform it. You got to be careful with this. Gold is wealth insurance. Silver is bartering money. Okay. It's also a speculative play, and it's also an investment. So you've got to look at the charts. You've got to be following stuff. If you're going to try to be a trader, don't trade this stuff. It's too crazy to try to be going up and down in the premiums. You're trying to trade it, go buy like One Gold or Glint. That's the best place to go do it. You're basically vaulting it, and your fees will be way lower. The other thing you can do is you can play the stock market with GLD and SLV. I don't recommend doing that, but you could do that. But as far as like, when's it going to go through the moon? Silver usually doesn't go through the moon until towards the end of the bull run. And gold's been in its bull run for 1 year. And that bull run is going to last somewhere between, 3 more years and 9 more years. Okay. It just depends on how things go. Silver usually doesn't have its big bull run until about, 24 to 6 months towards the end of its bull run. And that's usually when silver really skyrockets. So the GSR is going to continue to get pulled and silver is going to continue to go up, right? I don't think we're going to get to like a 300 GSR, but, for silver to really skyrocket and get to $700, which is a number that probably all of us would love to see at some point, you're going to have gold at 20,000, in my opinion. And you're going to have that GSR come way down, which means that the COMEX and LBMA have probably had a major unwinding, and they've stopped rehypothecating silver, or they've broken and it's moved to Shanghai. Those are the things I would think would probably happen. So be careful when you're putting goals around things, okay? Especially if you're in retirement age. I'd be careful with having a lot of silver personally. I'd be more heavy into gold personally because it's less risky. But it's not financial advice. It's just advice in general. The older I get, the more I get away from the risk stuff. It's one of the reasons I'm not doing real heavy crypto. If I were 20 to 25 right now, maybe I'd go all in on crypto because I have nothing to lose, but I have everything to gain. I'm more concerned about holding on to my wealth and protecting it, which is why I spent like $12,000, $13,000 on a trust to hide all my stuff. I'm more concerned about that and holding my wealth and not losing my ability to spend than I am on making money and making more of it. And that's one of the reasons I get into what I'm into more of the gold. If you don't have wealth and you want to build it, silver is probably a better play, but it has the risks, with it too. So be careful on your time horizons. Like this, I think is a great idea. As you're getting started, pick something that is manageable. So when I got started, silver rounds like this, in 2021, you could pick these up for about $18 to $22. And for me to pick up 1 or 2 of those, a month or a week was fine. It wasn't a big deal. And it could work. Let me finish that one first, and we'll go back to that one. So I think it's good to find a coin that works for you, that can be good. And when you do that, what I think happens is you start to understand that coin better. You understand the price, the fluctuations of it. I think that can be very helpful to get to know that coin really well. So, start with a bunch of Franklins and then maybe move to some Kennedys. And then maybe you want to go back and get some, what are the other ones? I think they're Walkers. I would do that. I like dimes a lot because it gets you even more fractional. And if you can get them for the same price as the $half, I think you get more bang for your buck. I've done guardhouse boxes and I like it for stacking. However, it does add extra cost, but it does put things into tubes like this and into the box so that it's easier to know, like take it out and you've got this to go. But you can also just put things in a bank bag. All this junk silver is just all been circulated. It's not, you're not going to hurt it in there. All right, Giant Mining Corp. You got to do the research on all of these. Anything I put in a video and anybody else does, you've got to go do the research on it. If I put out a mining video, I put it out first before I go and buy the stock. Even though I may know about it a week in advance, that's not my thing. I'm not in here to pump and dump stuff. I'm not trying to play it. Most of the time I either already have the stock, or after I put the video out, I will go and buy some of it so I can understand it more and I can kind of see how it works. I do have some of Giant Mining Corp. It's gone up a little bit since I got into it. But one of the things I'll tell you with the mining companies to just be careful with on anything that you see as a promotion is a lot of times there's a big spike. So when you see that initial spike, kind of wait for it a little bit to come down and get a little bit more normal to where it was prior to like the videos coming out. I think it could have some really good potential. I wouldn't promote it. I'm not really promoting it. I'm sharing it with you guys, but I wouldn't even do that if it was something that I didn't think had any validity to it. They've got some potential to them. I don't know why it hasn't totally taken off yet. But all the data that was there, everything when I put a video together, I'm doing hours of research. It looks like it could be pretty good. There's another one that I did too that was Alaska that I think had a lot of, shoot, what was it? It was another metal that wasn't precious metal in there too that's done pretty well. So, what I like to do if I'm buying a mining stock is I like to, let's say I want to put $1,000 into the mining stock. I start off by putting 50 to 100 bucks in there and I watch it. I follow it. I look back at the charts. I go and find someone that has some more data on that chart. If it's coming off like this, Giant Mining Corp, go back to the video and go look at the links and go do your research on it. And if that looks like something you're interested in buying, then the next thing to do, now you know it's a good company you want to buy into. The next thing to do is you want to look at, are you at a good place to buy price-wise to buy in? And that's where having your own charting software can really help because it'll give you inflection points. And so just because you want to buy NVIDIA and you think it's a great company, right now could be a horrible time, or Tesla. And so you may need to wait a month or two to buy into that because you're waiting for it to kind of, the hype to go down. So that would be kind of the advice that I'd give you on that. All right, so Rusty's a new member. I don't know how to show that though, but welcome. Good to have you guys. So, memberships are going to get more valuable over time for you guys. It's $3 a month. It helps the channel, but it also, we're going to be doing more live streams and some videos that'll just be for you guys too. I just got to get into the process of doing that. Let's see. Yeah, this is what I was saying. Gold goes up first, then silver follows. So we're in like the beginning of the third inning for gold, and we have the first batter has just hit a single with silver. Okay, guys, things are just starting. So we're very early in the game here. If you're thinking that silver's just exploded, then you need to hurry and sell your silver to move into gold. That's what the whole video with Andy was about yesterday. It's not the right time to do that yet. If you're trying to play the GSR, you're way too early to be selling silver into gold. And if you're worried that when we get to 50, there's not going to be any gold left, I think you need to go surfing. You got too much anxiety. You're worrying about the wrong thing. Gold's not going anywhere. The issue that you're going to run into is the premium. Do you really ever get to sell it at 50 or at 30? Usually going to have to, sell more of it. So when we get to like a 50 ratio, you're probably going to be at 60 is what you're going to have to do to get 1 ounce of gold. There's going to be, fees for that. Yeah. So if you guys are seeing this, I don't know why it's different. It's a new thing. So I thought we would kind of try this a little bit. And it looks like it's a little off. If you come over to the main feed, that's the wide one, wide, not narrow. you probably get a little better experience on it. But this is a way to find newer people that are scrolling through the shorts lives. And so that's part of the goal of this channel is I'm trying to wake people up to this. Like I've done enough research. I don't need to go do a lot more research on stacking. You know, all my emergency preparedness stuff is a little out of date. I need to spend more time with that. My room is a freaking mess here with stuff. Because I pretty much go from my day job to then working on this to grocery shopping and then helping my family with stuff. I haven't even watched a game in like 3 weeks, even though I have a couple teams I follow. I just haven't had time to even watch them. And I'm 10 videos backlogged in editing. So it just, it takes a lot out of you to do these things, but it's fun. I enjoy it. And so what I'm saying that for is I'm here to do this to help you guys. It's not for me, it's for you guys. This doesn't I'm not even making money from any of this to like grow my stack. It basically breaks even. I make about enough money to pay for the GAWS. I'm hoping next year I'll be able to start to pull in a little bit of profit. It would be great to get some money for all the time. But a lot of this it's here to help you guys. Now, if I can, I would love to transition to do this full time, but that's more like 100,000 subscribers or more. If we had that, I'd be traveling all over the country to come see you guys, go to coin shows. I'd go to Australia to do panning for gold and to do prospecting. I'd go into the mountains and do it too. I'd have a blast doing all of that stuff. I can't do that with my day job where I'm on video calls all day. But in time, we'll do some fun stuff. You figured it out. I know you did. Those are pretty cool. I bought some rounds from Tangible Investment the other day, and they have their regular rounds, and then they have their premium rounds, which are like the Buffaloes. And so I got a good price on the non-Buffalo rounds, and I got a whole tube of prospectors from 1980 from Engelhard. They don't know that those are worth a lot more money. They don't primarily do bullion. They primarily do collectible gold and silver coins that are rare. To them, it doesn't matter. It's just bullion. But now I'm debating, do I sell those and see if I can get another half a tube out of it? All right, let's see what else you guys are talking about. Yes and no. So put yourself back in 2000 when gold was going for $250. And if I were to tell you that if you were to ask me that same question, when gold gets to $2,500, do you think it's going to be hard to sell that 1 ounce coin? How would you answer that? It's the same exact thing when it gets to $25,000. Okay. The only difference with it would be if we're in a Great Depression and for some reason it's still at $20,000 and there's not a lot of liquidity. I mean, maybe it would be hard to do it, but I don't think it's going to be hard. The bigger problem is going to be, is there taxation on it? Are you having to report the taxation? Is it automatically coming out at the beginning of the transaction and all that stuff? You should always talk to your CPA, understand the laws, pay your taxes. The bigger issue is if you only need $5,000 and you have 1 ounce and it's worth 20, you're going to be paying the taxes on the full amount and you're not going to have the gold to keep going up. So for that reason, I like to have different size coins. And I like to have gold and silver. So if you only need $5,000, don't sell the gold, sell the silver. Is kind of how I would look on that. But I don't think you're going to get to a time where you can't offload it. But it's easier if it's smaller, but be careful on paying the premiums. A lot of times you can be paying a 15 to 20% premium on a 10th ounce gold coin versus a 3 to 5% premium on a 1 ounce coin. And that does add up big time over time. But those premiums tend to keep with those sizes. All right, let's see what else we got in here from you guys. They, I don't know. It's the U.S. Mint. It's rigged. You think the wheels are rigged out here? U.S. Mint's rigged. I don't really like the U.S. Mint very much. They screw up so many things. I don't know who's running that over there. They just stopped making buffaloes at some point in the like fall, and they're just done. And then there's still demand for them because it's the only, well, it's the only U.S. sovereign minted 24 karat gold, and so there's usually a lot of demand for it. So, just an idea, if you wanted to take the risk, you could probably sell your buffaloes if you can sell them retail to someone else. If you're selling it back to a store, that's not worth it. But if you could sell them retail right now, you could probably make a lot of money selling buffaloes, and then you could wait until the 2026 buffaloes come out. And they've made enough of them, so like early summer is probably the best time to get the lowest premium. The issue you run into is, what if gold jumps up to $5,000 and you're still sitting in cash? So you got to be careful with that. But if you roll from buffaloes into, say, One Gold, for example, and you just put a bunch of money in there, or Glint or one of those services where there's low premiums, you could roll into physical metals after a while with those. But that's kind of the game that happens with buffaloes. They kind of go back and forth. I remember when buffaloes were at $100 premium and eagles were 50. And then I remember a time where the eagles went up to 100 and buffaloes were only like a $75 premium. So it kind of depends on supply and demand. Yeah, I get you. I feel the same way. Like, if I had the ability to go back and tell myself to just buy gold in the year 2000, like I said to Andy, I'd have at least 10 times my wealth today, maybe 20 times my wealth. And I didn't have to work all these years, 25 years hard building businesses and selling them and doing real estate and side hustles and working 2 jobs and all that stuff. I could have just had a normal job, lived in a modest house, and watched my wealth just explode. That's kind of a good way to go. Well, will it keep doing that in the future? There's a good chance it does that until the fiat's gone and we go to gold backed currency again. Once that happens, then it's going to be stuck in, and it's not going to be something you can, you're not going to be playing off of it like that anymore. But I think the days of affordable silver are probably gone. Refineries capping buybacks, even as spot soars. No comment. There's a couple big refineries in the country, and then there's regional refineries. What I've been told from inside sources, but I can't confirm from the person themselves, is that a lot of the silver is being used to shore up LBMA with their bars. They're big silver bars that have to be 3/9 fine silver. That's why they don't want the junk silver. They don't want the sterling silver. They don't have our refineries are old. They're not efficient like it's not as efficient as like Switzerland or what they've got in China. And so they can't take those metals right now and deal with it. And they're having to pump these bars out like crazy because everybody that owns SLV that is wanting to get out of it is taking delivery instead of selling for cash. And that moves the silver out. And so that's what you're running into. So it's not that the demand for silver is down. The demand of silver is so sky high. It's just that the demand is for 3/9 fine silver. So if you're a real stacker and you think there could be SHTF situations, this is the stuff to go load up on right now. Okay, not financial advice, just this is the stuff. Okay, I'm not telling you to go buy it, but if I were to go buy a bunch, I'd be buying that. Now, I've bought other things recently, but I have bought this. And If I could, I would go get more of this. I kind of screwed some things up around Thanksgiving with Minute Coin. They were doing a $4.50 below melt on Constitutional, and I called him, but I felt bad because he was closing in 30 minutes and he had a huge line. So I said I'd get a hold of him the next day, and I got so busy with Thanksgiving and everything. By the time I got a hold of him again, they were already sold out of it. But they had a great deal on that. And, you know, there's going to be more deals out there, so look for things. Andy, I think, at spot price or a little bit below it for Constitutional junk silver. I'd buy that stuff right now if you're looking for things. But yeah, it's just I don't know, a couple months until they get those bars back in place. And they'll start taking, you know, the other silver again at some point. Let's see what we got here. If you set up a trust for less than $10,000, it's not going to be a real robust one. Okay, 10 to 13 is kind of a starting point to get a robust trust. So I don't own anything, but I have the ability to influence and control everything still. And so, you know, if someone sues me because they don't like what I say on here and they lost money in the metals and they want to try to press something, you can sue my company. You can't find out who owns it. You can't find out who owns it. And good luck. And there's no assets in there, so good luck. And even if you found me and you tried to sue me, my attorney would send a letter and basically show that I have no assets. And so again, you're going to get nothing out of it. So when you start to get into the 10,000 plus range on trusts, you're protecting yourself to the point where everything is protected and people don't have the ability to come after it. Even if stuff's in your name, there's ways for it to automatically roll into a trust. So like technically I don't even own the shirt or the hat or any of the stuff. So that's not something you worry about until you have enough assets that you need to worry about protecting them, or you live in a place like California where people sue you if they, you know, are walking their dog and they trip on the sprinkler out in front of your house. So, you know, if that doesn't sound like something that's in your wheelhouse, don't even worry about it. There's other trusts you can set up that are for, you know, staying out of probate. When you get into the $12,000 to $13,000 range, you're starting to get into trusts that are more set up for massive amounts of asset protection stuff. Kind of leave it at that. Silver is not the devil's metal. God made silver and gold. I don't think he made Bitcoin. I think man made Bitcoin. Usually when man makes things, it doesn't go well in the long term. But they're saying that because they're trying to discourage people from it. You guys, if us stackers stop selling our silver completely, silver's going through the roof because they won't have enough for industry. Okay, they don't get enough of it out of the ground. It would break the banks. It would like take out the big four banks because they're doing over 1 billion ounces short. Okay, and they're naked. A lot of that's not even like they don't even have the silver to cover it. So if you guys understand what that means, basically take the price of silver times $1 billion, and that's potentially how big of a loss they have. I think it's in the like $30 billion range. That's significant for a bank to take in a direct loss. And it could be bigger, could be a little less than that, but it's definitely not the devil's metal. Thank you for the super chat. What percentage of your assets do you have in gold? You're 56. All right. So I turn 50 next year. I'm 60% in gold, 40% in silver. I started in gold mostly. I've started adding more silver. I'm not really playing the ratio, but I kind of am. You know, when it was above 190 and even 80, you know, some people local would want to, like a doctor would want to pick up some gold. So I would sell a gold coin to them. And then I would pick up silver to replace it. So in essence, I'm doing the gold to silver ratio, and I actually came out pretty well because I can sell, you know, at a little bit above spot. And for some of the silver, some of those deals came in below spot. So I got a little benefit from it. But that's my ratio. There's no rule of thumb on what your ratio should be. except that I mean, I have a little bit of a rule of thumb, which is 1 ounce of gold for every $50,000 in net worth you have. If you have a paid off house, I would make sure you have enough ounces of gold to cover 5 years worth of property taxes. I think that's smart. The other thing I would say is $100 face minimum for each person in your house of junk silver, and work your way up to, multiple hundreds. It is possible, theoretically, to look at it, if a dime buys you a dozen eggs, or a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk, how many dimes do you need a week per person to be able to buy all that stuff? Multiply that out. That starts to tell you how many dimes you need for how long you want to prep for. 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years. What are you looking for? And then I always like to get food storage. If you guys don't have long-term food storage, go get some. I'd sell some of my silver or gold to go get that stuff. There's been a lot of Black Friday sales. There's a lot of other good stuff out there. I have a video that's 3 years old. I still haven't put it out, but it shows you how to make, for about $25, how to make 20 pounds of rice last for 30 years. I probably should put that out. I just need the time to get to it. It is right now. It doesn't always. And if you really want to look at it, some of the people looking at shadow stats are saying that silver should be about $1,000 if you really take the real inflation price into account. That still seems a little high to me. And then gold would be much higher too. So there are some different posts on that. If you go into X, let me see if I can find this. Let me see if I can get it here. I'll have to look for it again, but example of one, I'll throw this up. So when you used honest CPI, so that's the consumer price index, or people call it CPI, like Andy was, the one used in the 1980s, okay, because they no longer count coffee. They don't count a lot of stuff that you would normally use, and they put a cheap substitution into it. It's all cooking the books, basically. We have most of the people running the country are very dishonest. You'll know that they're honest when they put term limits on themselves, and you'll know they're honest when they stop paying themselves raises without the people voting it. But anyway, he's saying $300 to $400 is what silver should be right now, just based off inflation. So I think it's just something to kind of watch. All right, guys, we've been on here for about 3 hours. I need to jump off. I'm going to lose my voice here, but I want to thank you guys for jumping on today and going through this. Hopefully it was helpful for you. Thank Check Stacker for 5 memberships, guys. That's awesome. If you got one of those, you'll get a notification in your email, and you'll see also like a blue icon. Check out the membership, see what you think with it. And if you like it, you can renew it. So Checks, thank you for that. Now let me see if there's anything left. You guys put a lot of stuff in here. So yeah, stuff like this is true too. So look at that, guys. But also know ratios are ratios. It's not, it can go all over the place too. You can have, you can have the ratio pull gold down, right? Silver can stay where it's at, and it can pull gold down and go lower on the ratio, and your gold's worth less. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. Thank you guys for everything, and have a great evening. Take a look at the Andy video from yesterday if you haven't yet. I also put the ending out. Something got messed up on the ending. So there's a second video that went out today with the ending for it. And then the other thing I'll tell you is look for Sunday. There'll be a really good show on pre-33 gold coming out in rare coins and how not to get hoodwinked and screwed over. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.